What about Wolong too? What about Wolong too? Oh wait, I don't need. Let me put this close. Yes, this is not a self-esteem relationship stream. Hey, what's up, Brandon? Hey, Wizard. This is about Wolong too. Yes. So I'm gonna wait just like a few minutes, just like 2-3 minutes for people to come in. I don't anticipate too many people coming in, but if people, what I'll do is if I'll just wait. Oh, I'm rushing too many things at once in my head. Oh yeah, legit, what I might do tomorrow, instead of playing Neo 2, is I might play Path of Exile 2 on stream. And the whole purpose of it is so that I can level up one of the characters that Cass and I have, so that we can both play the same characters. She has a minion witch, and it's pretty hilarious how much she kicks ass. And then I was just chatting with her about it, about like, maybe I can just have like a duplicate one, and then their minions can just kill everything for us while we just chat and have like crisps. I got some popcorners for myself here, so it could be fun instead of playing Neo. Because it's not like I don't play Neo every other day anyway. But yeah, so how are you guys? I hope you guys are doing pretty well. Chill times, I hope. Just got back home. Oh, just got back home sweet home. Couple of days off. Nice. Yes. Ooh, days off feels good. Got any sleep advice? I mean, I can give you all sorts of advice. It just, I need a bit more of an understanding of what type of advice to give to you, because I could say, like, for example, don't use your phone at night. Or I could say, make sure you get 8 hours of sleep. But that's probably not the most revolutionary thing to hear about. Or maybe it is. I don't know. It just depends on your context. So I would need to understand what difficulties you're facing when it comes to trying to get to sleep. Things like that. Hey, Triggy, I'm doing pretty well. All right, I give people another few, just a little bit of extra time. And then I'll get started. Just while people are coming in, there were no questions submitted to me this week, so I don't have an exact plan to work with those, but what that means is if you have specific questions, things you want help with, I will go with that and answer any questions and try to help you guys out as I can. But if people are just here because they just want to see what I got, I already have some things that I figure would be helpful anyway. So what I can do, actually, is I can open up the form again. If people want to, if they're like, oh, hey, I got a big block of text. Well, actually, no, I don't want to block a text. Never mind. Never mind. No help for anybody. No big, no big, no big text walls. People will have to learn how to ask their questions and about what they specifically want help with, whether it is, yeah, I don't need, believe it or not, I don't need that much context to help people. Any topic you talk about is interesting? Great. I'm totally not going to abuse that power. All right, one more minute, and then I'm just going to get started. More like 30 seconds. How would you abuse it? I mean, I don't know. I just don't think about it. I'm just being a little shit right now. Need to figure out how to change a phone number. Can't find a way to go back to change it. That is outside my scope of expertise, unfortunately. Okay, so if there are any self-esteem relationship questions or anything of that nature that can involve sometimes mental health, anxiety, stress, now's the time to ask, of course. I turn the floor to just anybody here. Otherwise, I do have one big topic that I think could be of value to people in general, which is about the nature of the stress response and how it can... what's the best way for me to put it? Let me take a zoom out. I generally operate under the principle that, okay, the problem that people have in their relationships, I forget who said this. Problems in relationships are problems with the self. I forget who said this. I swear there's someone who said it. Alfred Adler? That sounds right. I forget. Anyway, I guess that's irrelevant. What do you mean you can't help Brandon? Just tell him to call this number, install that app, and you'll connect him to an operator, walk him through it. Well, again, outside my expertise. So what I'm going to focus on is the problems in relationships that people have at large. This goes along with what I deal with at work, where on the surface, and maybe you've been here in some of the past Q&As, oftentimes you'll see, hey, people have certain problems that manifest in relationships, but when you scratch the surface, we can start to see the problems that they have really aren't about that. Actually, I don't want to use this. So problems in relationships. Okay, let's boost this up. Come on. Thought it was worth asking anyway. Yeah, sorry, that's outside the scope of this stream. Any tech problems, tech support stuff, like this is not what this was for. I would just say check out Google. Google's your best friend there. Oh, is this text too tiny? It looks tiny. Hey, Golden Seed. So I've talked about before, this is generally under the theory that I operate, which is that really problems in relationships that occur, if you're having problems in a relationship, there is usually some problems with the self. In other words, it's a self-esteem thing. I will usually attribute to that. So this isn't just, hey, like if you're having problems in a relationship, it's only a you problem. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say specifically is individuals, if you're having a relationship conflict with your partner, there's usually and it just keeps happening, especially, then it just means there are some problems you have both within yourselves, and those are what are coming out in your relationship. That's the issue of conflict. That's why there can be things like misunderstandings in the first place. I could say something, I'm sure you guys can relate. You can say something totally innocent to somebody, and then they take it totally the wrong way, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? And then all of a sudden you're having a conflict with somebody, and it's like, bro, what did I like? What the like? I'm so confused. Why are we like having a conflict? Or it could be someone taking an issue that you have and it making a mountain out of a molehill type of deal. So usually with my clients, the issue I've talked about before is that they definitely have lower self-esteem. I think usually people who are struggling in relationships for sure, in some capacity, they are, oh gosh, I'm getting distracted. Usually my clients who are having problems in their relationships, it very quickly boils down to they're suffering from a self-esteem issue pretty fast. And so, because the thing is, they're not necessarily able to like do good things, and then sometimes they can feel bad about themselves too, in ways that just are very maladaptive in nature. And so, what happens is then they're not able to create a healthy ecosystem for the relationship to grow and get stronger over time. So, Wizard is mentioning if there's a money problem in a relationship, maybe you just have different values on how to spend money. That could certainly be the case. But honestly, I would even go further and say when it comes to irreconcilable differences in general, let's like money is one thing. Is that, am I even spelling it right now? I think sometimes people conclude irreconcilable differences way too prematurely. So a stereotypical example could be kids. Oh, oops. I don't want that. Oh, get out of here. It could be like kids or no kids. It's very like I've worked with clients. They're like, oh gosh, my partner wants kids, but I don't, or I want kids, but my partner doesn't. Oh no, I guess we have an irreconcilable difference. Guess we should go our separate ways. Obviously, on the surface, if there seems to be such a degree of misalignment, if you would, if there's just no fundamental agreement on this, yeah, then the traditional advice is going to be like, okay, well, time to go. Because we have different values, we're not going to see eye to eye on this, okay, time to split. That's very like standard from what I see. But oftentimes what I think people miss is really trying to understand the deeper nature of why somebody might want kids and why somebody might not want kids. There's no real attempt. I just generally don't notice that too often anyway. Like just people saying, "Hey, well, why do these people who seemingly have irreconcilable differences, why do they want what they are going for? What is it about having kids that they want? What is it about having no kids that they want?" There's not necessarily much discovery about that. And the reason I say that is because, in my opinion, people are overall driven by the same core things. So if I were to, maybe some of you have seen this before. Maybe you've heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Okay, I don't want to buy that. I want the diagram, bro. Oh, that is a terrible one. Okay. Can I just get a diagram? Image size, perfect. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maybe you've taken a psych course. Oh, Wizard, you're gonna reference that. Yeah. So I operate under the general principle. Like, I like Maslow's hierarchy of needs overall. I think it's a good framework that people want basic physiological needs met, like breathing, food, water, shelter, whatever you need to survive, just actually. People want a home, safety and stability. People want to feel loved, they want to belong, want to feel good about themselves, right? And do actual good in their lives as well. I don't think there's a single human being that's like, no, I don't want to have a good life. I'm like, even those people who say I deserve shit or I want to die or whatever, I'm like pretty sure deep down they're like, yes, I want a good life. If I could somehow find a way to have a good life, I'd have a good life. So the core thing, in my mind, the core motivations between human beings is similar. It's just the way to go about it might be different for different people. For example, if you're I hope no one's disagreeing on the deeper motivation part, but in case you are, all people, let's take a super simple example. All people want to eat food, and I assume most people want to eat food. Now, what exact food they have and what they like is going to be different. I might like chocolate ice cream. Well, actually, I like vanilla. I like vanilla ice cream. Cass likes chocolate ice cream, but we both like ice cream. What flavor we get is largely irrelevant. It's just we get what we want. Now, obviously, an ice cream example is not going to be the same gravity as kids or no kids, because it's a very like all or nothing type of thing when it's kids or no kids. But if we focus less on that kind of threat aspect of it, of like, oh gosh, all or nothing, and focus on the deeper motivations, you can usually find something that people can connect with. And then when they can really understand the full situation of like, hey, these are what our shared values are, this is what we are looking for in our lives, actually, people are more willing to be flexible and budge in general. Sorry, I'm with Cass on the ice cream. Nah, man, we're gonna have a war over this. But as Wizard has mentioned, there's an example of a client at my previous job where his wife wanted another child. He didn't, because he's like, I think we got like 2-3 kids. I don't really want to take care of another one type of deal. And he's like, oh crap, is this an irreconcilable difference? But for her, that sense of nurturing came from, it's just that she wanted to nurture something, so she got a business. And also, if we just zoom out, how many, like, I'm gonna fall on a silly, like a fun stereotype for me here. Crazy cat lady. All right? I'm a crazy cat guy. I love cats. You're right, kids cost a ton of money. There's a lot of energy and effort, but it's ice cream does it. Child ice cream. Get ice cream, bro. So for me, I love nurturing stuff. Cass and I both love nurturing our cats. We like call them our babies, so to speak. I'm like, oh, Ginny, she's 4 years old. She's so cute. Right? Like that sense of like nurturing and like investing into life like that, we get through like cats, through lovely kitties. Obviously, like women aren't 100% like have to have kids. Because if that was the case, then I'm sure there'd be a lot more frustrations and complaints from women at large about not being able to have children. But I'm sure you've heard of plenty of women who are like, nah, I don't want kids. All that to say, having that desire for kids or not have kids is not something that's just like baked into us guaranteed. It depends on our own personal motivations. There's plenty of people these days that opt to not have kids, and there's some people that still have kids anyway. It's very flexible. This whole dimension here, the kids or no kids, is very flexible. And the dimension that is going to play a bigger part in things is something that human beings can relate to, the deeper motivation. Right, Wizard, kids in this economy? Right. I remember I actually really wanted to biologically have children. I still, like, not even really, like, that, it wasn't, like, the most well-informed in the first place. Cass was like, no, she doesn't want to have any biological kids of her own. And I'm like, oh gosh, is this an irreconcilable difference? But after I really took the time to get to understand myself and her, I'm just like, gee, I don't know actually why. I can't think of a good reason at this time I'd actually biologically want a kid for myself. Like, I'm genuinely stumped. I'm like, I can't find it. My friend wants kids and he already has cats and dogs. Tell me, do you want to be the godmother? Okay. So, so the thing is, like, as I've investigated why I would want children, biological, like bio kids, for example, I'm like, I don't actually know. I can't find a reason that I'm so 100% on board with that. I'm like, yeah, I not only would want biological kids of my own, but would put somebody else, like, to have someone raise kids for me, like, give birth to a child. I'm like, I don't know. I can't find a good reason for me. I've heard of things like legacy. I'm like, no, that I could do that in many other ways, though. And there are like so many things. So my perspective has changed over time because I'm tapping in more so into what do I really want from my life. I only got one life, so kind of want to enjoy it. So how would I find the most meaning for it? How would I self-actualize with it? How would I satisfy everything for me in that regard? My way have been of like being quote unquote a provider or nurturing, so to speak, is through stuff like this where I try to give back to the community and try to help people for free. So I'm able to explore that. But as you can imagine, my clients cannot from the get-go. That is something, this whole deeper motivation stuff just seems like a bunch of hogwash to them. They're like, oh, irreconcilable difference. Right? Or let's take something more serious than even kids or no kids. We are your children poofer, I mean father. Right? Or even perspectives on cheating. Cheating, no cheating. I write it this way because I'm trying to elicit, or the gakis, yeah, okay, okay. One exception. If you like gakis, we're never getting along, okay? So let's take affairs or cheating in general. Because that's kind of like one of those hard-hitting things that really bothers the shit out of people. And understandably so, because it's such a deep betrayal. But I'm sure you've heard of like those who will go having affairs of like being more okay with cheating. To be very clear, I'm not condoning affairs. I'm not like happy about affairs. I'm not like, yeah, you go cheat. What I'm trying to say is let's really just try to understand, again, the motivation. So why? Okay, why? In the same breath, we can I'm pretty sure everybody can understand, hey, this is why somebody has a like an absolute anti-cheating stance. I mean, I say that from experience. Like, and so does Cass from experience as well. But if we try to focus on why, we can get a lot more of a deeper understanding about what's going on. But if we're not even curious about why would someone be favorable to cheating in the first place, then there is no way that we could even really uncover what the deeper problems are. So as Wizard is saying, one is happy in a relationship, the other isn't. True. Now, what can happen there is, sure, we can always say, for example, unhappy, right? Right. You're cheating, obviously, like, dude, don't cheat because it's such a betrayal, screws trust, and so on and so forth. And then we could ask the question again about why they are unhappy and just in general keep trying to go until we could find something we could actually empathize with. That's the goal that I try to give to my clients is, hey, look, sure, your partner's having an affair on you, but really why? Why are they? Why are they for it? Or why are they doing it, even if they seem not for it? Like, what the fuck is happening? Because what I start to realize with my clients is that in general, they're so jammed in their perspectives over here that they're unwilling to understand their partner. And it shows me what I'm getting at here is that their ability to even attempt to resolve conflicts fucking sucks. And if they're bad at conflict resolution, that their default, if they're so bad at the conflict resolution that their default isn't to try to be understanding of their partners, then I'm like, bro, this is this right here is a death sentence for your relationship, because no matter what, I can see when you are undergoing a time of stress, you will not do things that can actually repair things. You just won't. They won't try to investigate why their partner is unhappy, for example. They just like won't. They'll latch onto, oh, I was betrayed. Right, Wizard. So if it's like you can't even have an honest talk in that session, it's like, okay. Right, like I'm like, okay, then no wonder you're having yeah, exactly. No wonder you're having problems with your partner. If your instinct isn't, oh gosh, my partner seems unhappy, what did I do to fuck it up? If that's not their default, and it's like, oh, well, she's cheating because she's a whore. She's cheating because she's evil. She's depraved. I'm like, what the fuck? Now we're introducing 500 other problems. And usually that's what I noticed from my clients who are like, oh my gosh, I've been betrayed and I hate her. Or, oh my gosh, I'm betrayed, I hate him. That instinct that they have to basically like not even question themselves at all and just assume they are absolutely fucking flawless and perfect. I'm like, and them not trying to understand what would make their partners unhappy in the first place, like what went on. That usually tells me a lot about them, a lot of negative things about them. If it is 100% no room for discussion, then it wouldn't even find you for help, right? What usually happens with my clients is they will. So let me break this down. We'll get to this. So here's the thing. I've had a lot of experiences where the clients will say they'll do anything and everything to change. And then they're like, oh God, my partner's having an affair. Oh no, I'm done. I don't care anymore. I'm like, okay. Well, you have literally just disproven the idea that you will do anything to change yourself, and you will willingly continue to go with things that will destroy your relationship. So, okay. They're like, oh, okay, well, it's insert thing I don't like. Okay, well, now I'm gonna stop. So they'll say, like, I have experienced enough people that will say, hey, I want your help, I'll do anything and everything to change, and then we'll tell them like exactly what has to like be addressed, and they're like, well, actually, never mind. I'm like, okay, well, now I know why your partner doesn't trust you, because push comes to shove, you're full of it. Okay. And that's a whole other topic together, but I will transition to that. Because it's one thing for people to say, hey, I want help, and they'll pay money to try to find help. But in terms of them actually doing the work is a whole different story. And I want to talk about that part more than anything else, because how someone handles any conflict and a supposedly irreconcilable difference will tell me every fucking thing that I need to know in terms of why they're rigged about their relationships falling apart. Straight up. Because you're right, if they can't even talk openly and honestly about problems, then no conflicts will get resolved. And as you can imagine, conflicts are an inevitable part of life. I mean, it'd be nice if there were no conflicts, but like on some level, but challenges happen. Also, life's kind of boring without a good challenge. Could you imagine in Neo if like when I play Neo 3, if it was just same shit every time and there was nothing to grow off of? I get bored. We're wired to grow something, which means we have to recognize that there is a limit that we're experiencing. And when sometimes we want to go above that limit, there's a conflict. It's normal. I think Buddhism says life is suffering. I mean, welcome to the club. Not that life is only suffering, but like suffering's a part of life. I mean, shit happens, right? I don't think anyone here would be like, oh gosh, I'm so unique in my life because I have problems. Be like, bro, everybody has problems. That's like the universal human experience. But how you deal with those problems is very important. Now, for my clients, the bigger problem that I notice is, again, a problem with their self. So when like an affair comes up, right, their instinct will be to go down the whole like, oh, your betrayal, you betrayed me, so I hate you, or whatever, or toxic response, right? We could even argue cheating's toxic response and like whatever. But I'm right now I usually work with this camp. I have had clients who are the ones that they cheated on their partners and then their partners are leaving. And so then they're at like the other camp, the other side of this too. Where it's like, well, I cheated on my partner, but I've changed now. Why doesn't my partner want me back? And she's leaving and she's divorcing me. Right. But this is a bit more common to me. I don't actually know. I don't actually pay it. That doesn't really matter too much. It doesn't matter which side they're on. The thing is a toxic response, and that's what I really want to focus on today. I know suffering. Nobody knows more suffering than I do. Yeah. Entitlement is fun, isn't it? Okay. What I also do notice with my clients. Okay, we got our two things. Okay. So naturally, when you experience a stress, when you experience this trauma, you're going to feel certain things. Of course you are. It's going to be in your head, right? And you're going to behave a certain way accordingly. Now, in my experience, a lot of the clients that I work with in general, if they're having relationship problems, and like I've said, they have problems with themselves, it's usually because they've had some trauma in their lives that they may or may not be aware of. They may lack self-awareness. And usually, in my experience, people who aren't able to be compassionate to their partners are unable to be compassionate to themselves. So with that whole cheating thing I was talking about, if someone's instinct when they're faced with a sense of betrayal is to condemn the other person, rather than even giving compassion a shot, reveals to me that, okay, this is probably how they've handled things before, and this is probably how they learned it before. Because the thing is, no joke, if Cass was to like theoretically cheat on me, not that she ever has, but if she was to cheat on me, let's say like today, I'm not in a romantic relationship with her, so it's not like it applies anyway, but if she was, I would want to think like, I'd be like shocked, of course. I'm like, oh fuck, this is obviously really stressful for me. No doubt. Of course it would eat me up. But before completely concluding she's like super fucked up, I'm going to be like, well, why? What happened? I'm going to want to understand how I came up short. What did I do that was lacking? And even before that, what prevented her from bringing it up to me over many weeks, months, if not years? Why did she keep things to herself? Because the existence of an affair, and one, her admitting, let's say she like admitted she had an affair, I'd be like, whoa, that's a huge, She's taking a risk. So I'd be very grateful for that. But I'd want to understand just like what the fuck actually happened. I'm not judging anybody yet. I'm not deciding what I'm going to do with my life yet. I'm not deciding if I'm going to stay or leave yet. I just want to have the full scope of facts first. I'm going to think about it much more rationally. Even though things are emotionally charged, my goal is to think about it like rationally, like what happened? Enough to the point where I could be like, yeah, I could, even though I may not agree with it, I can genuinely understand it. No, Poofer, you have to start yelling and throwing things, think later. So that's a good point. I know you're saying that in jest. But that's a very good transition towards what I'm going to talk about. Naturally, for me, my feelings themselves, whatever behaviors they go to, right? We feel something and it leads to a behavior. All right. Stress, we have certain intense feelings and we go to a behavior. Now, if someone's response to finding an affair is to start yelling and throwing things, I think we could all say, hey, that is not going to fucking help. Like, okay, like, all right, hey, I'm going to be abusive to you. Or I'm going to be abusive. Like, if you're yelling and throwing things at somebody, that's abusive. All right. So we have adaptive and maladaptive. I think I'll use those terms. I think we'd recognize that yelling and throwing things is not going to fucking help. It'll probably make things worse. To me, what I try to help clients with is go away from this and go towards this. Because what happens with a maladaptive way of operating is increased stress, right? It'll worsen the situation. Whereas an adaptive thing will make it better, or I'll just say improve. We want behavior that's actually helpful, that makes things better, which then in turn reduce the stress and trauma over time. And we feel better about it, and we're very much in control here. Oh, okay, my partner's having an affair. Yes, I feel really, really crap. But let me make sure to try to understand what the hell is going on and be very understanding and create a very safe environment for my partner. And if I have personal issues that have perhaps, let me see if I have any problems with myself. You know, let me work on those, right? And then that will make things slowly, maybe improve things, maybe not today, but in the long run. And if I just keep doing this, even if my stress isn't, even if the events aren't changing today, I recognize that in the long run, it will get better. So I don't have to worry about shit. I just keep doing adaptive things, stress and trauma and pain and consequences or whatever goes down over time, I'll be good. Or if you go into the behavior that's maladaptive, where you make things worse. And so even Stone Age, like, oh, I want to prevent the affair from happening. Well, guess what? Okay, sure, you can yell and throw things. And you might prevent the affair from happening for like 2 days. Or what will happen is, well, that person just will no longer tell you about it. They will take it outside your awareness. They'll hide it even better. You know, like when okay, let's take a lighthearted example. Let's say you tell your parents, hey, I want to go hang out with my friends. And then they scream and shout at you. Or you say, hey, I hung out with my friends instead of doing homework. And your parents like yelled at you for it. You gonna tell them next time? I imagine no. Now, is that gonna stop you from doing it? Maybe. Or if you are like me, it's like, I'll just find a way to do it so that my dad doesn't catch me. I'll do it in secret now. I ain't telling him shit. I'm gonna hide it from him because every time I tell him, he's gonna blow the fuck up. No, I'm gonna play my games. I'm gonna go hang out with my friends. Similar principle here. My father thought he was making it better, but he was just deluding himself. No, my first girlfriend, I didn't tell my dad about it. I didn't at all because I was so scared of what would happen if he found out. So I hid it from him as best as I could. I think he still caught on, but still, I hid it from him. Because I was so afraid of the consequences. So afraid of the consequences. And like, it just made shit worse. So he was shooting himself in the foot because not only was he not getting that information, but my general trust in my father was going down very rapidly. And he was, if anything, he was making it worse through his actions too. And like, I was a kid, like, I gotta pass. But ironically, if he had been understanding about things, given me a safer space to talk about things, I like would have told him. And if he had issues with things, he could work it out with me. If he had gone the adaptive route, it would have improved, and I would have been more likely to tell him. So then there's no need for the stress of the trauma stuff to go in the first place. So now let's get to the point that Wizard makes about, hey, a thing that plays into the reaction would be someone's self-emotional control or whatever. Do they just react instantly or take the time to think first? So I'm gonna qualify that just a bit. Reacting instantly can be great. It just depends what your reaction is. Is your instinct going towards something adaptive or maladaptive? Now it helps, of course, to take the time to think first. Before you take an action. Especially if your history is, oh shit, things just keep getting worse for me no matter what, then the first thing I would do would be, hey, let me investigate my behavior. Is it actually maladaptive? Is it actually making things worse? Yes, take the time to think about it. Because obviously, sometimes your behavior can be just on instinct and it's very adaptive. I see. So what you're saying is you have to trick your kids into telling on themselves, just don't blow up instantly, play the long game and punish them later. Ah, yes, that's exactly what I was saying. Yes, Wizard, don't abuse them now, abuse them later. Great. Very healthy. But right, so back on a serious note. Focus less on short. So we have innate instincts to do things just spur of the moment. And that brings me towards how people will cope with traumatic events. For naturally many people, an affair is very traumatic. It's a deep betrayal. I thought that's what parenting is. Get out of here, you guys. Naturally, when faced with trauma, we will have an appropriate trauma response. Trauma responses are just part of being human, and they're not inherently bad. They have huge value. So people usually can respond to traumatic events, usually an affair being one of them. They get angry, they can do those things like yelling, throwing, or accusing other people. They're in that fight or flight response. Sure, you guys have known this. When someone sometimes get triggered by something, you notice they react a certain way. Feeling anxious, sad, or angry. For those who are, their partners are having an affair on, or for those who are, I guess, are the victims of affairs, of course they're going to be emotionally affected. Of course they're going to think about what happened with their partners with. This doesn't just apply to traumatic events, but any regular things as well. No. Yeah. Obviously, with traumatic events, things can be far more serious. But yeah, regular things. We encounter a stressful situation. And we're like, oh shit, what do we do? We have a little bit, like, even as I say it, I have a little anxiety with it. With traumatic events, it gets a bit much. Ultimate rage bait, maybe. But with traumatic events, it can get more severe. So it's like, oh, hey, I got cheated on, so I'll do anything. I'm worried a lot about it. I've been emotionally affected. I can't think straight. I keep reliving it over and over again. I get super angry, resentful. I have trouble sleeping. I don't want to go anywhere near the person who cheated on me or anything that reminds me about that. And maybe you like kind of shut away from family or friends. You get a bunch of physical symptoms, right? And so that happens. That's to be expected. Of course, it's gonna, like, pain hurts. No shit. You're gonna have stronger things. So what happens with my clients? So maybe you've heard of the fight or flight response. I'm going to talk a little bit about that first because I just want people to be aware of ways that we all have this. First three are obvious: fight, flight, or freeze, I think. Fight is, you know, you say something, like, fight is, as it sounds, you fight back. Someone introduces a stressor towards you. Like, if someone's going to throw hands with you, right? They're going to fight you. You might fight back. That makes sense. If you think you can beat them in a fight, if they're threatening you physically, you're going to fight back. Understandable. But as you can also recognize, maybe perhaps you can recognize, having a fight response when your partner is telling you in confidence, hey, I cheated on you, or I had an affair. While a fight response would be understandable, it wouldn't help in the situation. Same with the flight response. If someone tells you I have an affair and then you just leave, again, I'm not saying to stay in an affair or not. I'm saying if your goal, to be very clear, if your goal is to try to repair things with your partner, again, that's your goal. And you make that very clear. Like, obviously people just leave, which is fine. I'm not saying like stay. Very soul pool. But if your goal is to try to reconcile with your partner and they reveal to you, hey, I've had an affair, then, for example, not paying attention can be a problem. Wanting to leave and not engage in the conversation can be a problem. Obviously, if your goal is to reconcile, ending the relationship would go counterproductive against that. The freeze response, similar principle. But naturally, people can't help. And I can go on about the fawn response. I can go about the flop response as well. These not only don't feel good for the individual experiencing them, but they also don't help alleviate the problem as well. There's a time and place for all of these. I'm not shaming these responses. But what can happen is that when someone is faced with a stress or a trauma, and their feelings or memories of past traumas come up, they'll be reminded just on a very instinctual level of like how they handled past crises. And it's just fucking automatic. So when it comes to time to think, that isn't there. So it's just on instinct. Like if someone has a gun to your head and you don't know how to deal with it, you're going to go with whatever feels the most natural. Those responses, to be very clear, are negative in this context. But there are certain situations where it's 100% adaptive. If someone has a gun to your head and they're like, give me all your money, and you don't have any gun training, you're probably just going to give them your money. No one would blame you. In the same way, I can understand someone feeling deeply betrayed and hurt and angry about, like, oh gosh, my partner had an affair. Feelings are fine, but it's the behavior that can make a difference. Obviously, with the gun to your head situation, yeah, giving somebody your wallet when they want your money and you don't have any self-defense skills is just like, just give them their money and just like hope they go away and run the fuck out of there. Call the cops, whatever. Just like leave, but do not engage. Like, do not engage. Like, get out. Right? That makes sense. That's very adaptive and it will improve your situation. In the short term, yeah, you lose your money. In the long run, you live. Pretty fucking obvious choice. A maladaptive thing would be like, hey, but I don't have any self-defense training, but I need to, like, I can't lose my image as being a tough guy. So I need to fight this person who's like has a gun. I need to be all macho. Be like, bro, you got a death wish? That would obviously worsen it. Maybe they might survive, but holy shit, the threat, the seriousness of it, man, they could get lucky. Like, that's very maladaptive. So as Soulpool is saying, those responses are evolved to protect you. Right, Triggy, the risk goes up exponentially. Exponentially. So these responses, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, flop, maybe there's more I don't know about. There is survival value in it, but in this day and age, things are a lot more complicated. They like, human beings are living for a lot longer. If I'm not mistaken, life expectancy has gone up by like more than double since I think like over the last 100 years or something. Average lifespan is 40, and I have people living to like 80, 100. I've heard of like 120 or something. My cats, for example, I think average lifespan for a cat in the wild is like 3 years or something. Maybe I don't quote me on that. I don't actually know. But my cat Chini, even though she passed away, she lived to be over 10 years. That's triple the lifespan. There's Ginny is 4 years old. Maggie's 11 now. I've heard of cats that live up to the age of 30. That's so huge. That's a whole lot of life. That's a whole lot of long-term stuff to go with. There's so much technology available. Our lives are a lot different than they ever used to be. Yeah, Wizard, I think it's like world's oldest living cat's like 30 or something. I'm like, what the hell? It's like inconceivable. Those stats are a little complicated due to infant mortality, but yeah, the world is way different. Okay, fair. Well, thank you for that correction. I am obviously not the most well-versed in this. But I think the point, and I appreciate the clarification or the jumping in. But yeah, the world is different today. We can now go to a doctor and we can get help with. A lot of diseases are gone. Now I'm curious. Life expectancy over the past 100 years. Our world and data. I don't want cookies. All right, CDC. I'll go with that. Jeez, serious life decline. And no cookies. Okay, Here we go. We'll just go with Wikipedia, the most trustworthy resource. Okay. Life expectancy at birth in years. It's definitely gone up for various reasons, all right? Dang, that's significant. I'm sure, like you said, Soulpool, important mentality. Yeah. That's a lot. Oh, great. His life expectancy dropping. Gee, I wonder what happened. Okay, anyway. So right, we're overall living longer, is my point. The stress response is not like we need to adapt is all I'm saying. You can like chill a lot more. Things that used to be threats are no longer a threat. But that part of our biology is still ingrained in us and it is still useful. But for long-term happiness, being in that stress response state all the time won't be helpful. So I'll take my case for example. I'll just speak about me. I grew up being abused. I experienced a lot of domestic violence. I've been physically abused, mentally and emotionally abused for like many, many years, if not decades. So I was faced with constant stress. I had certain feelings about me. Now, the thing in here is the behavior that I got was adaptive for my situation at the time to keep me safe in the present moment. Because when you are scared for survival, you cannot think about long term. You just kind of can't. Because you're just like, well, me living in 50 years is irrelevant if I'm dead tomorrow. Or if I'm dead right now. So you are going to focus on the short term. You have to. It works. It's a very useful instinct to have. But that's separate from the long term. Long term, what happened by me being in that abusive environment is, yes, there were a lot of long-term problems I inherited. A lot of them over the course of like 10, 20 years. So I learned a lot of behaviors just by being in that environment growing up as a kid. Naturally, learning any behaviors from my abusers is going to be maladaptive in nature. I just didn't recognize that. A lot of that played out in my own marriage prior, and that's why Cass divorced me, because my behavior was shit. But you bet what was happening to me was that I was reliving, like whether I knew it, I was unaware of it, but I had to unlearn, right, I had to unlearn a lot of things. I had to recognize that, hey, my behavior is going down this track. And I needed to realize that, holy shit, whatever I'm doing is making it worse. Once I recognized, hey, what I'm doing is making it worse. Like, no matter what I'm doing is making it worse. Exactly, Soulpool. I learned a lot of short-term behavior, but not long-term, which failed when I was in a long-term situation, correct. I had good, like, if you were to put me back in my family environment, oh my god, dude, all the toxic shit I did to Cass, for example, I'm like, they totally deserved it. Are you kidding me? Me being dismissive to Cass is fucking stupid. Me being dismissive to my abusers, yeah, fuck off. Oh, okay, yeah, all right. I'm like, no, fuck off. No, I don't want anything to deal with this shit. I am gonna be rude. I'm like, oh no, I'm so rude to the people who abused me. Oh my god. When I was a kid. I'm like, get fucking serious. Oh no, I'm mean to them. It's like, good.
But if I was to do those same things to Cassandra, oh my gosh, she'd be like, dude, you're a fucking asshole. Which is correct. Not to compare you to a dog, but stray dogs. Okay. But stray dogs start off trying to leave their owner all the time because it was a safe to stay, never stay in one spot. It takes time to adjust to a long-term situation. Yes. And that's a lot of the work that I do with my clients, which is not to say, hey, get rid of your trauma response, your fight trauma response, but just to channel whatever you are doing into something adaptive. So usually with clients, once they can start to recognize, oh shit, what I do actually makes it worse and I personally believe it because it goes against my values, then what usually happens is they'll start searching for something that they feel good about. They start developing self-esteem over, they feel proud of. And that starts to build up in the long term. And so they're much more in control of, they've already, it's not that they have to control themselves in the moment. They've already prepared for it well in advance so that they can react instantly and it will go the way that they need it to. And it will be helpful. To put this in perspective for Neo things, just to like make it a little light, when I pull off kick-ass fights that you guys may like, what I'm able to create in that moment isn't just because I'm learning everything on the spot. I'm not stopping to think at that point. I've practiced it many, many, many times to the point it's fucking automated. I think Chicken Burrito was mentioning this yesterday, but it was like, it was during my fights when I was trying to showcase Fist of Reckoning and how powerful it is if you can use it during arts proficiency, whether it's to activate or as like the last part of your attacks. When I was really trying to figure it out and learn it on the fly with everything going on, I actually struggled. And instead, when I was just going for my super flow fun stuff, I happened to find something naturally. And it was pretty cool. I was like, oh, look, a good showcase of Fist of Reckoning. This looks pretty sick. But a lot of that, like figuring that stuff out I've been doing it for so long, it's trained in me. And I happily trained it because it's most fun for me. So unlearning stuff doesn't necessarily have to happen in the moment. Like, sure, some of that can occur. You can figure something out spur of the moment. But I say that's also a short-term thing to do. That's hard to do all the time. But if you can kind of practice things and bake things in your downtime, so to speak, great. Do so. Invest. I mean, and that's what I do with my clients, is to help their minds really be able to see and like breathe again so that they can wire their short-term and long-term responses more naturally. They have to train to not have that natural self-protection response and instead learn problem-solving responses. Yes. It's not about unlearning the natural self-protection response. It's just about channeling it in the best way. I fumble a lot when I want to show my friend the trick I learned, bro, check this out, but I can do it consistently alone. Yeah, I mean, that's what happened to me yesterday too. To be clear, the natural self-protection responses that we have, the fight response, the fight, flight, freeze, fawn that I've kind of mentioned here, right? They're all fine. They have actual value to this day. If you find yourself in a serious situation, like violence or something of that nature, like all this stuff works. I've done all of this stuff when I was getting abused. All of it. I definitely fought back with my father. Didn't work because he's my dad and he would fight back even harder. I definitely tried to escape. I couldn't. I learned freeze and I couldn't. I tried to flop. There were some moments I flopped where it was rare, but it would happen. But yeah, I definitely fawned. I was very people pleasing to him. That was the best way for me to help things or run away or avoid or anything. It all worked. But when it comes to, say, that natural self-protection response, all these are fine. All we're just trying to do is just latch them onto something that is very helpful. Because sometimes when we get triggered or there's something we perceive as traumatic, if we're able to just zoom out a little bit and observe things, just even for a split second, to really understand what is going on, we can just start to see, oh, there's actually no threat. And then you can be like, oh, now that I've evaluated this, there is actually no threat in this situation. Okay, so my feelings are a little misguided. Okay, well, then I don't need to resort to this line of thinking. What I try to do with my clients is help them reduce that sense of threat, that threat level. In other words, I try to encourage them to make things safer for them and their partners. And then it's easier for people to function and think outside the box and go for some long-term solutions when they're not constantly worried about like, oh, am I gonna die type things. There's no need for them to even entertain the stress response because the stress isn't there. The trauma, the pain isn't there. With my dad, I did flight a lot, not physically leaving. I would just emotionally shut down. Looking back at it, it wasn't a great response as it did destroy a relationship. I still blame him though. One question, how old are you? Because I'm guessing you were a kid. Okay. How much older is your dad? I mean, actually, it doesn't really matter. Between the ages of 15 and 25. At that time, were you in your 50s? Was he in his 50s, 60s, 70s? Young pool. Okay. I'm gonna blame your dad. I'm getting close to my 40s. And I would never blame my own child for having difficulty in a relationship with, for having, both of us were very stubborn and anger prone. Yeah, if my own son is stubborn and anger prone, I don't care about that. I'm not gonna be like, oh, the reason my relationship with my son isn't working out is because he's very stubborn and anger and gets angry. I'd be like, I'm like that. I'm like, no, I'm his son. Okay, I'm like, he's my son. Let me just like not focus on that shit and just be there for my son. Oh, he doesn't want to. He's emotionally shutting down. Let me like try to work with him and understand him and like be nice to him. Dude, he's like double your age. Could you imagine now, Swolpool, talking to a kid of 15? Let's say you met a 15-year-old and they were angry and they just shut down with you. Would you get pissed at them and be like, oh, it's the kid's fault? When it comes to parents and children, I'm like, the onus for me, 99+% of the time is on the parents. Ah, yes, it's a child's fault that the relationship broke down. I'm like, I'm sure that happens. But like my default is not to assume that. No way. No way. Sure, your response may not have been the best. Just like mine wasn't the best with my family either. But at a certain point, it's like, okay, now that I've concluded this, what am I going to do differently with my father? Okay, I'll tell him the truth. Already a bad idea because I get punished. I tried everything. It didn't do shit. Oh, you've got to behave the best of you. You have to like placate your dad and calm him down. I'm like, what the hell? Placate an abuser. Get the fuck out of here. Wouldn't get all mad, irritated, sure, but my thoughts would be he just needs some space. Yeah, I'll address that. Give me just a second. But yeah, Swople, just to cap that off, knowing what I know about you, I totally put the thing, I like whatever I know about you and how I've interacted with you, I'm like, nah, I blame your dad. I blame your dad. Your dad 100% should be the bigger person because he's the parent. That's what in my mind comes with being a parent. It's just like, yeah, kids will do sometimes stupid, shitty things. And guess what? That comes with the territory of a human being, a child trying to grow up. It's not an equal relationship. It's not that you are on the same equal level as your parent. It's like, no, your parent is always going to have to operate at a higher standard than the child. Like, no matter what. And what I've noticed in my own life and with some pretty questionable parents is they try to make it equal. And like my standard, my kid's behavior, I can match that. And if my kid isn't having a high, and then they'll use that as like some sort of excuse to be like, my kid should behave better than me. And this is my reason to excuse shitty behavior. I'm like, all right, parent, you got some issues. But anyway, I could talk about that for ages. My own father, I'm sure, has a lot of like trauma built into him. But his behavior has been maladaptive, obviously. So it made things worse. And then his response to dealing with the increased stress and the feelings that he would have would be to do more and more things. And so, I play the victim card, or he'll do really toxic things, really controlling things, and just keep making it worse and worse and worse. And then his stress just keeps coming. And it's just like, okay, I can already see this cycle just continuously playing out. So I don't want to get involved with an increasing threat, so I'm out. I just know that anytime I bring up something that could be stressful for him, it's going to go badly. Now, what's been happening more and more over time between Cass and I is that she's still very wary of like, oh, hey, how does he handle stress? She's like, she doesn't trust me for that reason. But over time, she's like, oh, it actually does get better. We actually have more fun. It's actually really nice. Okay, I can come to him with things that are stressful or that are problems because it goes down this route. Cool, okay. Nice, woo! I mean, you should blame my dad. I think if he was alive, that we would have reconciled. We had a lot of good moments, but I think having two harder adults doesn't help. Yeah, it doesn't help. Like, obviously, Swolple, what you did didn't help. I'm just not going to blame you for it. I'm like, yeah, it's to be expected, and I'm going to put the focus on the parent. Like, that's pretty much it. But yeah, I'm sorry you weren't able to reconcile. I'm guessing that's what it comes. You wish you could have. And that missed opportunity is painful. I understand that. My mother passed away in her late 60s due to Alzheimer's related things. And so I can relate because my mom has been dead for like the last 12 years. 12 years? Yeah, 12 years. And there's so much life that I wish I could have shared with her. and like my life would have probably my mother's presence made my life a lot better. So not being able to share it with her in certain ways obviously sucks. Oh, it's all right, Brandon, but thank you for the thought. Um, and so naturally, of course, my relationship with my mother was much more solid than a relationship with my father is. But I could appreciate that, hey, if I could have like I've definitely wanted a great relationship with my father, and it's really unfortunate that it hasn't happened. I'm like, he's still alive, he can still do something. Come on. But it's like I've already it just sucks. Thank you, Swopel. I appreciate that. But I say all of that not to put the focus on me, but just to at least just be understanding that, hey, like that missed opportunity part is rough. And it's just like, if only I could have something different. And there's a lot of grief that goes with it. And of course, we can ask, like, hey, I wish I did this. I wish I did that. I wish I could do things differently. And yeah, maybe we could have. But I guess the big question is, with that regret that we have, what's the takeaway we want to apply into the future? So for me, I've had all that, I've done that all regret loop thing with like my dad like so many times. And I'm like, well, I will do X, Y, or Z specific things and practice it in these circumstances. So there's some resolution to that these days. I'm sure you lost your mother due to complications of Alzheimer's in 2020. Hey, my heart goes out to you. Alzheimer's was a very growing up watching my mother go through Alzheimer's was very tragic for me. Try not to cry, to be honest. But the one thing I do remember is that even despite the mental decline, I always saw my mother as somebody with a lot of dignity. A lot of dignity. She was very dignified, even though Alzheimer's can be a very undignified sort of illness because someone loses all their mental faculties over time. I'm sure your mom would be proud of having a John Neo son, famous YouTuber and kind person. Yeah. And thanks for the reminder, Soulpool. I'm going to transition to that. So, well, Papa, I appreciate your patience. So, let's get to your question today. Let me drink some water so I can give you all the attention that your question deserves. So, well, Papa's question starts with, hey, Poof, I'm 27 and recently got married. Congrats. Recently, I've had these feelings of impending doom or a fear of death. I've never had this feeling prior. I want to bring this up to my partner. Great. How should I navigate that? So, I guess, what are you concerned about? Since you're right now just thinking about bringing it up to your partner, but you haven't, like, done so. Okay, you are worried. Okay. Okay, so you are afraid of loss. I'm worried of scaring them. Why though? Oh, here we go. Now we're getting to the meat and potatoes. Afraid of looking weak. Okay, why are you afraid of looking weak? To your wife. I don't know. I just want to be there. Elaborate if you can. Because I'm gonna ask you some questions. It could be a childhood thing, maybe. Has your partner given you any? Let me ask you a question though. Has your partner given you any reason for you to think, oh, my partner would actually think I'm weak? And is there some constant, like, has she punished you in any way, shape, or form for looking weak or being weak? Have you felt punished? Or is it just like, are you happy with her? Have things been going great with her? Or is it like, oh, there was this one time where I was feeling a little less than, and then I brought stuff up to her, and then she got mean or something or whatever? Okay, so your partner's very supportive. Okay, great. At least we have nixed out that variable. So here's the thing. I'll say this as a guy. For me, like, obviously, I don't want to die. I don't want to be weak, so to speak. I want to be there to be protective of people like Cass. But for me, my focus is less on looking weak. Like, me looking weak, it's like, we'll pop up. We all have insecurities. Having insecurities is in of itself not something that's unique and is not necessarily a bad thing. You having all these feelings, all these fears is fine. It's what you do with them which makes the difference. I've known people who have the same sort of thinking, and they do really fucked up shit. And I'm like, okay, just made it worse, bro. You actually made yourself like really weak. So it's like intense self-sabotage. Like, stereotypical example. I've had a client who cheated on his wife and then like try to deny it. And he has like this whole like macho personality or whatever. I'm sure his wife, when she's like, oh, this guy, like, he doesn't get what he wants, so he throws a tantrum and then has sex with other women. And he thinks like, I think, and it's like, does he really think I'm like turned on by this? And I think wow, he's such a powerful, strong man. It's like, nah, he's a fucking child. Throws tantrums all day. I don't know if you guys have seen The Boys. Freaking Homelander. Perfect of this. Perfect. Homelander is like fits into this. He's like, right? It's like Homelander is like craving validation, right? But everything that he actually does to create like this perfect image, like he wants to be seen as a god and worshipped as a god, okay? He definitely does not want to look weak. But holy fuck, you even scratch the surface and he fucking crumbles and goes crazy. And then, like, if you watch a season finale, you see what happens the moment his power is taken away. It's like, wow, this is really fucking pathetic. And it's like a total cycle of self-sabotage. Homelander is a great case study for, like, dude, someone who's afraid of looking weak, if they go, here's what happens when you go down the toxic route. Okay. Whereas you contrast that with like the character of Huey, who has been made fun of and looks weak the whole time, but like really has a huge heart and really stands up for what he believes in, and like doesn't budge even though he has Butcher basically trying to belittle him in some way, shape, or form. In my mind, I'm like, dude, Huey's obviously the stronger character despite his lack of physical strength. I'm like, I'd rather trust Huey as a leader than I would either Butcher and certainly not Homelander. So there's that. So it's just to be, so I say that because their behaviors when faced with the same stresses and the same fears made it dramatically changes how things are played out, and it makes a big difference. I obviously, what I'm more concerned about is not so much the perception of whether I look weak. It's nice if people think of me as strong, but what I try to focus on is I just try to do strong things. Because I'm not machismo by any means, but part of me wants to protect my spouse from the real, you know? What do you mean? Real what? Elaborate. I'm more concerned less about how I'm perceived and as opposed to how I'm actually doing. Perception plays a small part in it, but for the most part, I'm like, well, if I'm doing strong, good things, for example, like eventually people are going to see me as strong anyway. Just the not so good sides of life. Okay, like what? Like, what are some practical things that you're worried about? Obviously, I want to protect like other people too. In my way, me sending all this stuff to you guys is my way of trying to protect people. I'm trying to give education so people can protect themselves. And I'm doing this for free rather than charging people because I'm like, I just want you guys to be able to have this in your mind so you can do better with it. So I'm focused on, hey, do these things. Whether or not people think of me as good at coaching is irrelevant. I'm like, whatever. As long as I make sure the advice I get is good, great. Some perception, like seeing me positively, will help. But if I can give good advice anyway and it can resonate with you, shit like this will take care of itself. I don't even need to focus on this at all. I just focus on this, and great. That's a great question. It's a very new feeling for me. Okay. So it seems you may not have explored this yet. I would encourage you to do that for sure. Let's get back to what you do know for now. Let me ask you this. What was my question? You've said your partner would be supportive towards you. If she sees you as weak, what will happen? What are you afraid will happen? Let's say she thinks, oh, Whoa Papa is weak. Let's suppose she goes with that. Yeah, totally, Whoa Papa. That's all we try to do. We're just here to be better. Be better, live better, have more fun, shit like that. This is good stuff. So what I'm trying to do right now, Whoa Papa, in case you're confused, is really to try to help you become more aware of what you're really afraid of, what consequences you're dreading. Ah, there you go. So if she sees you're not the one, she'll leave you. Sounds like you're really worried about being abandoned. Oh, she'll leave me for somebody who is strong. If I look weak, she'll leave me. Has that actually ever happened to you before? Have you been left behind when you have looked weak? My guess, Jax, this is from a previous experience. Dude, I got flaws. You kidding me? Okay. Relationship wise, I leave before that happens to protect myself. I'm a child of divorce and I feel like it's more from that. Okay, fair. God damn it, Swolepool. You're beating me to it. Poofer, were you vulnerable with Cass before? Or did you also not want to look weak and argued? Both. Right. So, just a heads up for anybody watching. Um, I I don't ascribe to the attachment style theory too much. My guess would be that Papa is more avoidant, which again, understandable, bro. What? Of course, I'm gonna avoid. Who wouldn't want to avoid this shit? Who wants to worry about this? Ah. So here's the thing. So that's a whole side like conversation I've had with people. But this is normal. You got psychology training? That's great, Swolepool. It's fun. So here's the thing. I come from the perspective of it takes a strong man to admit their weaknesses. It takes a strong man it takes a lot of strength to be able to be open and honest about the issues we have with ourselves. Provided you're working on them. Like, it's one thing for someone to say, hey, I got a drug addiction. Be like, wow, that's big. But then if they keep saying they have a drug addiction without actually working on the drug addiction, then it's like, okay, well, this kind of loses all value. If there are parts of yourself that you dislike, it's important to accept and acknowledge them. With your wife, my guess is she feels very safe with you. She feels like she can trust you. Poofer, we have a video game addiction? I mean, yeah, but I ain't stopping, am I? Oftentimes in romantic relationships, denial is the biggest death sentence to having that close connection. When we try to push away our feelings because we're afraid of some consequence. Pushing away our feelings and avoiding in this capacity, all that will happen is maybe at best we can remove the awareness of the problem, but the problem is still brewing there and it will come out in other ways. It just has to. Until eventually it just all comes out. Think of it like taking a shit. You can stay, even if you're constipated for a while, if you try not to take a shit, you'll probably have some serious health problems at some point. And then the doctors are basically going to try to take all the poop out of you. Shitty example, but I think you get the analogy. Right, pressure cooker scenario is more accurate. So what we want to do in our relationships in general is with the person we love and trust the most and have committed our lives to is to share. I think you'd be very surprised at how receptive your partner will be if you're being very vulnerable. Like, are you kidding me? Look, let me put it to you this way. If you're very vulnerable, if you're very emotionally in tune with yourself and you can express your emotions in a healthier way and talk about your fears and vulnerabilities openly and healthily with your partner, do you think she'll like, okay, I'm gonna go maybe a little stereotypical here. And for what I understand with heterosexual relationships, women love a guy who's in touch with his feelings in a healthy way. I have to say in a healthy way, because there's plenty of guys who are in touch with their anger feelings and blah. But if you share, you're inviting your wife to connect with you. You are creating emotional intimacy for each other. Imagine, Whoa Papa, if she was like, no, honey, I'm so glad you could share all of this with me because I never want to leave you. Here's why I think you're strong. I don't think you're weak. I think you're strong. Here's how you do all these good, strong things. Would you love that? I'm guessing you'd be like, oh my God, yeah. In the same way, if I'm sure your wife were to come with you with the pain that she was feeling, hey, I'm feeling hurt about this, or I'm scared about this. I don't feel like I'm a good wife. I don't feel like I'm good enough for you. I'm worried you'll leave me. I'm sure you'd be like, no, honey, I'm going to be here for you. We just got married. I love you. I'm going to spend the rest of my life with you. And in fact, I'm going to showcase just how amazing you are, how much you deserve good things, and you don't deserve to be left behind. Here's all these things for you. And I think Jax is also getting to another point. If you're so concerned about looking weak, then as I was kind of talking about, hey, let's do some good, strong things. And you could say, hey, honey, like, I've been afraid of not being good enough for you. I want to know what I can do to make you feel safe and protected. Because I really love you and you really matter to me. What could that be? You go down this route, you're kind of taking out two birds with one stone. The problem in modern society is that women then turn around and weaponize the men who are vulnerable to them, so they stonewall from then on. That's a whole other topic altogether. Well, Papa's experience right now is he is feeling very supported by his wife. At this time, I have no reason to assume that there are major relationship problems that they cannot resolve. Yeah, and Jax is already doing some great, mentioning some amazing things too. What you can ask her, what makes you feel safe, secure, and protected? And if she tells you, honey, you're doing everything amazing. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. No, what you're doing is so good. Then you'll know. And if she tells you, actually, here are some things where you come up short, then you can work with that, learn from what you could do better, and get better at it. But either way, focus can just be here. And not to mention, when it comes to emotional concerns, like, hey, I'm so afraid of, I mean, you're afraid of being abandoned, right? And now that you're in a, like, it makes sense why you'd feel the way that you do, well, Papa, because you're a child of divorce. You've seen what happens. I mean, come on, you're a child of divorce. Your parents, I'm sure they were lovey-dovey and happy at some point. And then you watch it all fucking fall apart. And what could you do? You couldn't do anything. You couldn't make it better, probably no matter how hard you tried or whatever you did. They kept fighting, and then you felt powerless. You couldn't do anything. So fuck yeah, I'm gonna want to avoid that too. Right? And whatever issues they had in between them, maybe they involved some of these things. But either way, they got, I mean, you suffered consequences from that. They did. And now here you are, and you're like, oh shit, am I gonna have some fucked up things I'm gonna bring into this relationship? Am I doomed to the same cycle that my parents were in? Because after all, I am their child, and I did learn a bunch of things from them, and I've been desperately not trying to do that, but now I've got emotional things in me, and I'm kind of scared, and I don't know what the fuck to do with it, and I don't want to ruin my marriage, and let's just, you know, I kind of want to sweep it under the rug because I don't want to ruin a good thing. But then it eats you up, and then you feel guilty, and then who knows what you'll do out of that. And some of those could be good, some of those might not be less than good, and then it just spirals over and over again. But you don't have to be alone in this. Healthy relationships are one, in my mind, where you can talk to your partner about anything and everything. Right now, I'm pretty certain, just as Soulpool is, that your wife thinks very highly of you. Very highly of you. And if you're, in my mind, if our partners feel super safe with us, they think very highly of us, and we kind of are on the same walk of life together, there's no reason for them to leave. Why would they? It's like, well, I can get a five. It comes down to like this. If I can get a 5-star restaurant meal at home every fucking day, no matter what, and it's always going to be amazing, there's no need for me to go out anymore. I can get any 5-star restaurant meal at home, no matter what it is. I can get it at home. Don't need to cook. I can just, all right, great. Why bother looking for anything else? It doesn't even come into mind. It's just like, ooh, I'm going to enjoy what I have home today. What am I going to get to enjoy today? So what I would say, give your wife a chance, be very vulnerable about stuff. And as Jax and Swolpler are saying, I would say go with what they're saying, in all honesty. Ask what you could do better to make her feel safe and secure and protected. Tell her where it's coming from, what you're afraid of. And you can show her, hey, when you are and here's another thing that will strengthen your relationship. And it's one of those like kind of implied things. You are also showing her what you do under stress. You're showing that what you do under stress, when you're feeling under stress, is to do something that is very productive and healthy for your relationship. Oh my gosh, you may not feel the benefits of that today, but it only spells amazing things in the long run. Every time you are under intense stress, you're doing something good. You're doing something that brings you closer together. And so she'll tell you problems that she has. If she's afraid of something, she's like, this Papa is my man. He's my guy. I can bring to him problems. I feel so safe with him. Even when he has issues, he's the guy I go to. I want to comfort him. I want to care for him. Oh, he's been hurt in his life. I want to hear his pain. He's such a good man. I want to be there for him, comfort him, etc. And I bet as you experience that, you'd be like, oh my God, this woman's amazing. I want to do more for her. I want to do even more for her. And then as you do more for her, she'll do more for you. But either way, as Chad is talking about, go in this direction. Right, Jax hit it beautifully. Turn your fear into a catalyst for opportunities for growth. You can just ask her what makes her feel safe and protected. What makes her, and right? Right, Swolpool is right. Damn, my honey tells me when things are wrong. What a cool guy he is. I trust him. I can turn on. Yeah. You are creating emotional intimacy, which is literally going to fight out this off. Literally. Oh, I can feel so emotionally connected to my husband. He is honest with me. He really cares for me. And he's really trying to work through whatever past stuff he has with me. He really trusts me. He really thinks I'm worth it. Like, there's so many positive messages. Like, I can't, like, there's just too many for me to conceive of. But you go in that direction, oh man, all this will evaporate. Like, even if this does come up, you know, hey, it's all good. I go in this direction. I'll be fine. I can like, there could be other messages to yourself, like, oh, I can overcome these fears now. Or even if I have the fear, I'm not really worried anymore. Because my life is so goddamn good now, because I've made it that good with my wife through doing a lot of good, strong things with her. I have my own protective barrier. I feel strong. I am so strong. And eventually the goal is I can be so open. I don't feel weak even if I admit my weaknesses. In fact, I can just admit them proudly. Yeah, I'm fucked up in X, Y, or Z ways. Yes, I've done super shitty things in past these ways. I'm working on it. And, you know, for me, like, if you see what I talk about with my own stuff, I was shit to Cass. I was very emotionally abusive. Very, like, just terrible by my own standards. I did it innocently, blindly, mind you, but that doesn't make it any fucking better. It's like I still did shit. There are many times I feel weak. There are many times I feel vulnerable. There's many times I feel afraid. But I'm generally more open about it these days. In that entire time you heard that, Whoa Papa, aside from having maybe like a tinge of judgment for me, did you perceive me to be weak or not? Or something else? Or strong, maybe? Did I sound weak? In your opinion? Well-rounded. But not weak. You're not like, nah, man, you admitted what you're afraid of or your flaw. Or if I could say, yeah, man, like, what am I actually afraid of? I am afraid of losing Cass, but more than that, I'm more afraid of her suffering pain. I'm more worried about her suffering. Me losing her, I'm like, yeah, it would suck. And I feel sad. Pooper doesn't sound weak, but I've seen his arms. I'm judging. Now we're talking. I definitely want her company. Like I tell her that. I have the fear of abandonment too because it's happened before. I mean, she did divorce me, so like some of that is a little warranted, but there's a lot of childhood stuff behind it. So, but the thing is, like you said, not weak, great, crazy, yeah. Pooper gym phrase, gym bro phrase. I go into the Neo Beef Gym, okay? That's where I go. Yeah, if you go in this direction, you ain't gotta worry about shit. Cass was telling me the other day, loving someone is willing to let them go if being here or with you causes more pain than not. Yeah, like I'm very clear to Cass. I'm like, if I'm creating stress for you, like I should go. She's like, no, I actually want you here. I'm like, okay. I'm like, but why though? She's like, because you've changed. Like you've changed. She like I still have to process this. She told me legit today, like, you've become a great person. I'm like, oh, thanks. I'm like, yeah, and like I deflected a little bit because I'm like not used to that, but um, she like I'm like, yeah, I was pretty shit before. Very nice chicken burrito. Gosh, now I want a chicken burrito. So as Swopool is saying, it's okay to be insecure. It's just channel that fear, that insecurity into doing this, into finding a way to connect with your wife, to sharing things vulnerably and whatnot, and thinking about what he could do for her. So yeah, I hope that helps. Yeah, welcome to my free coaching. Let's go. It's like my mom's death, though I miss her. Her being here was more painful due to her not having the full, like she was accustomed to, and her having no control and changing it due to her illness. Yeah, that's how stress can be. Damn, Poofer's too high. We gotta bring him down. Your Neo plays only really good, not great. Boo. Okay, okay. Yeah. And hey, you guys are married, and I'm telling you, if you need an aphrodisiac, there you go. Hey, honey, I want to emotionally, like, put it this way. Hey, honey, I like your message is effectively, hey, honey, I have these deep emotional things I really, really want to share with you, and I also want to do really, really good things for you. Like, I'm pretty sure your wife's gonna love that, dude. Wow. He wants to connect with me even after we got married. And this is some serious stuff. Whoa, I'm so lucky. And he wants to do good things for me too. Wow, he really cares. I don't see him as weak. I'm like, see him as amazing. I don't even have the words. I don't even think strong describes it. So go have fun, is all I'm going to say. Now, of course, if something problematic happens for whatever reason, bring it back here because that's the type of stuff I specialize in. You're in the fun, super fun territory. I deal with like, oh my gosh, my partner wants to leave me and they're cheating on me. Like that's my bread and butter. Like, oh my gosh, days away from divorce. Oh no, end of the world. We got kids. My partner moved across the planet. I never see her. He blocked me. I think Jax makes another great point. You can subtle things you can do or to change the way we speak about it. So rather than it being an insecurity, it could be like, well, actually, this is an opportunity to grow. And I hope Mo Papa can experience that, where he's like, no, actually, this is my fears, my anxiety isn't something to be afraid of. It's actually an opportunity to go closer, get closer with my wife. Whoa. And just watch your relationship health get even stronger. It's nice. I'll tell you that. It's really nice. You get away from being afraid to being like, oh, no matter what it is, it'll get better. Hey Poofer, I always just watch your new videos. Since when do you do coaching content? When did I start this? Let me see. I've been doing coaching. My job involves me being a coach. Let's see. Oh wow, early May is when I started doing this. Yeah, last month. So it's been about a month. So my day my like my actual job is to be a self-esteem relationship coach. So yeah, I've been doing that professionally for about 2 years now. Yeah, about 2 years. I think Will Papa left, which is good. He's like, I gotta go try this. I'm gonna make the jump for it. He's got to get back to work, which is great. So yeah, I hope next if I hear from him again, it's a lot of good news. He's like, bro, man, insert this, and this happened. I can't believe it. Thank you so much. I hope that happens. Yeah, man of action. Oof, love it. It's a good shit. So yeah, Cheetah, I've been a relationship self-esteem coach professionally for the last 2 years. I worked with a company for about a year, and we had to coach clients to scale. These days, I do things more independently, and I'm working towards this fall. I'm going to apply to be. I'm going to apply to go to graduate school to get like a mental health counseling license. That'll be like a 2-year program at least. So yeah, I want to get the therapist license because being a coach is. I don't like the title. I don't trust the title. Hey guys, you know that Neil guy? Yeah, he's a relationship coach now. Be like, bro, what the fuck? What? Why would you trust this guy? Versus, oh, that Neo guy, he became a therapist with a license. And he was a coach beforehand. He's not only been through serious relationship problems like divorce, but insert all of these things that he's personally done but since then, and now he has a license. Bro, this is legit. All right. Oh, and he takes insurance. I don't have to pay out of pocket. Okay, great. Have any of your clients know I'm the Neo guy? Yes, like just like a handful. Have I done anything with psychology, or is it something else? Uh, ooh. Soulpool, I'll get your question because I'll talk a bit more about that in depth. I've taken some psychology classes in undergrad, but or like in community college and things like that, but that's really about it. I've worked at counseling centers before, but not in a therapist capacity. I've like been a volunteer, but I've had a lot of interest in psychology for many years, and I've wanted to be a therapist for a long time. Just never really um, pulled the trigger, so to speak, on it until recently. But yes, I have helped. To be very clear, I'll transition to Soulpool's question. I have mostly coached men. It's not that dudes are almost always the problem. I think for the last company that I was working with, it's just the dudes had the money. I think it was that. But these days, and as in present tense, I think most of my clients are women, actually. And in my experience, I have an easier time working with women. Fun story, COVID screwed my grad school so much that I'm technically 90% a sports psychologist. Oh, damn. Yeah, I think Will Papa's tougher than he thinks. He just like brought this shit up to a random stranger. And he was willing to go in depth with me. I'm like, bro, he does this with his wife. She's gonna love it. Are there any preferences for which gender prefers which therapist? Not to my knowledge. Yes. Women generally prefer to work with women because unfortunately they can experience a lot of harm through men. Is the coaching for people currently in relationships also for dating in general? I typically work with long-term relationships, but whatever I teach also applies for dating. It's not meant for like casual flings or anything like that. Like, you don't need me for that. I have just focus on long-term relationships. So if you're dating with the intent of getting into a long-term relationship, yeah, I can help. Some of my clients, when they some of my clients have started like, well, they'll start dating other people. I know of um I remember at my previous employer's work, one of the clients recognized that their partner was genuinely a narcissist, like actual narcissistic personality disorder. So this person was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna leave. They still had toxic parts in them that they needed to address anyway. But they eventually, I think, found a new relationship. So of course they had to go through dating. I think the guy in question actually got like nominated for an Emmy Award for something. I'm like, dude, good for you. What's this? Forget. Oh, now I remember his name. I thought he was nominated for an Emmy, or did he not get an Emmy nomination? I think he applied for it at least. Oh no, he did. Oh no, he did get Emmys. Emmy nominations. Yeah, that's him. I forget what he was nominated for. God, I hate this AI feature. Yeah, anyway. I'm gonna leave his. Yeah, I'm not sharing his name, even though he has a public interview about it. But yeah, there's a. I've worked with. I don't think they're minor celebrities, but like, uh, I've worked with people that I'm actually very surprised that they're having relationship issues, given sometimes their line of work. And it's like, wait, this person is insert this position. I'm like, okay, so what the fuck is happening? Why are they making mistakes in this specific area when they don't have their job? Yeah, I don't give out personally identifying information about my clients for that reason. It's quite frustrating because it's so easy to slip up. Yeah. Yeah, I have to be careful about what I say. Thank you for that reminder, Soulpool. But yeah, so like some of my clients are, they're not major celebrities. I've never worked with a major celebrity. Um, but probably like just like very, 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 very minor ones. And then my mind, or it might be like a news anchor, for example, or it could be like someone who plays in like a football league or something. Um, that's what I've heard of. How did you know you wanted this job and that you're good at giving relationship advice? How did I know I wanted this job? So it comes from my background of being curious about human psychology in general. So there's that. And so how did I know that I was good at giving relationship advice? Great question, because I went through divorce. I joined a coaching program in which I really wanted to be a coach there. I was a coach there for a year. And then once my contract ended, I decided to go a different way with working with people more personally and really just to become a therapist. So I was pretty well known in that coaching program. Um, gonna toot my own horn here, but I was kind of regarded as a legend because it's like, oh my gosh, this guy got like divorced and now he moved back in with his ex-wife and they're best friends. And sure, it's like, yeah, like even though they're not romantically together, insert all these things we think about it anyway. Like that's so amazing. So that was a big thing. I got hired for that. So yeah, and in terms of me giving good relationship advice, really it's not so much I give relationship advice in all honesty. Like I'm not saying, oh, this is what you do with your spouse in like the traditional sense. Usually what I help people do is kind of what I discuss here. So while Papa was in stream, I was technically giving him relationship advice, but what I have on screen is not necessarily an issue with the relationship directly. It was more of an issue with the individual was facing. They're like, hey, I want to tell my I want to tell my I'm scared about this thing in my marriage. What do I do, right? And I'm like, okay, let's figure out the personal block. So kind of like similar style as a therapist would, I imagine. And then I'm like, okay, now that we understand what the problem is, let's go do this. Here you go. Go try that out. And then they enjoyed the advice, and it looks like other members such as Swilpool and Jax were very, very helpful in providing great supportive comments in that realm. Your advice isn't too difficult. The standard confidence building, just with a relationship is a set of sport. Right. This working with Wopapa was fairly straightforward, to be honest. When it comes to the clients that I've worked with, they will fight tooth and nail against this. Oh, isn't too different? Okay. All right, fair. Sure. So clients, for example, I would have to educate them on a lot of different things because right now for Wopapa, he's just got married, so things are super happy. But for my clients, me going down the same route is like, dude, if I were to say, yo, man, all you gotta do is just do good, strong things, and that's loosely paraphrasing things, they're gonna fight back so fucking hard because their anxiety, given certain outcomes that they're facing, is just so strong. They're like, yeah, sure, I can do all these good things, but it won't matter because my wife will leave me anyway, or she'll keep having an affair on me anyway, or my husband will do that anyway. So what's the fucking point in me doing these behaviors? It won't make a difference. And so I have to go through a deeper psychology with that to help them. Your clients want to cook a steak but can't even make a sandwich. Kind of, yeah. So it's a lot of self-esteem work, and there's usually a lot of trauma behind it. And the problem is that they've adapted maladaptive. They've taken in and internalized maladaptive behaviors to deal with their problems. That makes it worse. It's just a lot of self-sabotage that I have to help them get out of. So I worked in that environment for a significant period of time at scale. These days, I don't do it. I do it just with individual people, but it's pretty intense. So, yeah. That's how I learned I was good at giving it, because I helped contribute to some success stories. Like, I have a portfolio, a professional portfolio at this point. Oh, thanks, Jax. I appreciate it. Fun story. Most star athletes are similar. It's insanely hard to get star athletes to actually do weight training because I'm the best on the team anyway. If people think they know the result, they see no reason to change. Yeah, and in my case, just to build off of that soul pool, I'm not dealing with star athletes, okay? I'm dealing with, like, the not star athletes. I'm dealing with the equivalent of the couch potato at home who acts like they're the star athlete, but they haven't even played a game. And they're like the bench, like people on the bench who don't even, like, not even on the bench, just like armchair. Yeah, like it's like the difference between a video game developer and an armchair developer, like, type thing. It's like, okay, bro, you're not even in the fucking game and you're acting like you're an expert. Like, oh my god. Oh my god. And it's just like, are you kidding me? It's like, at least with a star athlete, there is some sense in them being egotistical. But it's like, bro, you haven't even worked out once and played a game, but you think you're the most amazing star athlete, you can do better than them? I'm like, oh my god, the ego on this person. And there's a lot of ways that it manifests. So there's usually a lot of mindsets that my clients have that are incredibly shitty. And I have to help them to unlearn it. And it's very interesting to see what people will do when they're faced with a challenge, whether they will try to look within versus them just doing the same old shit, which ruins things. I love being a couch potato. My roots are spreading. Yeah, but Chicken Burrito, you're not claiming to be a star athlete, are you? Yes, I'll share some interesting stories without naming them. One client cheated on his wife when she was going through chemotherapy. That client's spouse naturally wanted to divorce him. Oh, there was another question I missed, actually. I think Chicken Burrito asked this. Have you worked with same-sex couples before? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The fundamental nature of my work is independent of, like, sexuality whatsoever. Correct, soul pool. There was a client who, as far as I know, has not succeeded, and I see no evidence to think they will. Cheated on his wife when she was going through chemo. And I'm like,
And then last time I remember this guy was like, it's just messed up, dude. And then I remember he was just in such denial about the emotional pain that he caused and thinking, oh, she basically just like needs to get over it type of mentality. Yeah, just give her time, but I don't really acknowledge stuff. And, you know, she just needs to move on through this. I think it's a her thing. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, sure, she'll need to move on through things, I guess, maybe. No, not that she even needs to. I mean, it's up to her. But, bro, you are in some serious denial. Serious ego. How do you do that to another person? Well, I guess you could ask him. But that, in my opinion, can only happen through a whole lot of fucked up shit in their head. I had a gay boy classmate in high school, and I want to be nice and genuinely curious about gays, but then he just starts yapping about his boyfriend. Dude, chicken burrito, you want to be curious about gays, and he's yapping about his boyfriend. That's all you need to know. Oh, oversharing some details you didn't want to know. Oh, you learned too much more than you thought. Okay, that's different. I was gonna tease you. I'm like, hey, I was curious, and this guy started opening up to me, and now I don't like it. But yeah, like I can understand certain details. You're like, I'm not curious about this. I'm curious about other things. That's fair. Did I judge him for that, or I keep it to myself? When working with a client, I keep it to myself. But in general, my focus is less on the behavior. I generally don't try to judge people as much as people's behavior, and I let the person individually decide if they're okay with their behavior. I'm not going to shame them. I'm not going to yell at them. Nothing. I just like, I'll ask them like, hey, all right, well, in your opinion, and I'll ask them in a very like non-judgmental, curious way, something to the effect of, well, all right, your wife's upset at you for, or your soon-to-be ex-wife is upset with you because you cheated on her when she was going through chemotherapy. How do you think she feels, for example? Like, I'll just ask them that. And then I'm like, do you think, I'm like, and if they'll say, well, yeah, I know I did that, but it's not really a big deal because of X, Y, or Z things. I'm like, okay, well, before we get to her behavior, let me just ask you, do you think that do you think having sex with another person when your spouse is going through chemotherapy, how do you think, or what do you think about that for yourself? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? And then some clients will waffle through it. And then I'll try to ask and try to understand like what's going on, like what's preventing them, what's causing them to be in such denial over something that's like obviously like really fucked up. Right, chicken burrito, I understand. I understand. I hope you understand. I'm just teasing you and not serious. It's okay, chicken. We can't all be me. Yeah, obviously, like as you guys know in my Discord, I'm comfortable with a lot of talk, but some things I'm like, please just like I don't want to hear about this. It's like I'm actually very uncomfortable with this. So, in other words, what I try to do, Cheetah, is I don't judge the clients because that's one, really stupid of me to do for my own personal values, and second, it doesn't even help them. I will let them decide what they want to do with that information. So it's up to them, really. Politics, that's why I don't post most of my art there. So, right, with my clients, I don't shame them. It's counterproductive, and they're already doing plenty of that themselves anyway. I'm not there to kick them down. I'm there to help them out. So the sense of approval or validation is not based on what I say. It's based on what they think as per their own identities, their own values. That's the goal anyway. I won't tell them, oh, you're making excuses. I will let them conclude that on their own. So they'll be like, "Oh man, I'm actually just making excuses." They'll coach themselves, they'll catch themselves. That's more of what I'm trying to help them do. Because the thing is, all the clients I've worked with, and even I, have done fucked up things. I'm not here to be the judge, jury, and executioner type thing. Like, I don't. I'm just another person. I might like privately with Cass or with you guys, for example. I might be like, yeah, this is pretty bad behavior, but I'll judge the behavior. I'll be like, dude, that behavior is shit. Are you kidding me? I'm like, come on. I'm like, bro, cheating on your wife when she's going through chemo is fucked up. But notice I'm not even naming the client. I'm thinking about the behavior, the action. I absolutely judge the action. I will shame the shit out of certain actions, 100%. But I try to separate that from any personal attacks. Yeah, you're like a teacher helping a student solve a math problem. Yeah. Like I might be like, well, like imagine if a teacher told a student, "Man, you fucking suck. You can't even like add 2 plus 2 together." Like, wow, you suck. That's going to demoralize the student. And that's kind of a dick move anyway. It's like, no, of course the student's going to struggle. But I want the student to learn. It's much more. I don't know if you're familiar with the Socratic method, but I fall into that, where it is not me telling the answer, but nudging. And when it comes to individuals' issues, when it comes to their relationships or problems they have with themselves, I'm trying to help them answer and address their own problems with themselves. If they become dependent upon me, that's actually a failure on my part. If they're insecure about something, I could, like, sometime I've posited this to one of my clients, like she was looking for validation from me. Okay, Swople, I'm glad you had a good relationship with your teachers. So she was looking for validation from me, and I said, okay, well, I could give you validation here, but does that help? Or I don't, does that hurt? And she's like, it does hurt. But if you tell it to me, it doesn't actually help. I'm like, okay, well, let's try to figure out why. What's going on? And then she expresses stuff. I'm like, could it be this? Could it be that? Could it be this? What do you think? She's like, oh, it's this, it's that. And then trying to help her decide what she wants to do now that she has a greater understanding of herself and the behaviors that she wants to go with. And even there, it's just some nudging and coaching about what she thinks would be right, which would help her for her own values, what she considers important, and really for her to find her and discover who she wants to be. That's what I generally focus on. And so it can kind of be like a dance in a way, but I'm not. It's less about me giving them an answer and more about me helping them come to confident terms with the choices they want to make. Even if the client makes a choice that I recognize would be bad or would make things worse, I'm not going. So I actually don't push my values onto them. I don't. I will not do that at all. I'll just let them be aware of the choice that they're making. I'm trying to get them to face themselves. That's it. As I'm just going to say, all right, you're aware of this. You are aware of this, and you're going to go do this. Okay. And they'll probably make some mistakes. And then they'll just usually come back to talk to me about it. I'm like, yeah, I understand stuff. And I'm like, okay, now we get faced with the same situation again. What do you want to do? Help them learn themselves. It's not me about giving them, like, let's use a fishing analogy. I could give them a fish, but that feeds them for a day. I could teach them how to fish, but if they need to get updated lessons for classes on fishing, they'll have to come back to me. My goal is even longer term than that, which is I am trying to teach them how to learn to teach fishing themselves. So that they don't need me at all. They can figure out how to navigate their own lives without me.
So there's that. But if they think that what they're doing is okay when it's not, you're trying to tell them it's not okay, right? For me, I don't outright directly state it. I'll just ask them questions for them to decide whether or not it's okay. And if they're in denial about it, again, I'll like push a little bit. I'll get them to realize that I'm like, what they're doing or saying is kind of full of shit. But I'm not gonna, like, if you were to be in my head, you can know, oh, I'm generally guiding them towards this direction. But it's up to them. For example, I don't think he's here, so I'll just mention him. But Code, for example. I'm pretty sure Code is not doing anything remotely productive for the relationship that he claims to want more than anything. He's like, yeah, insert all these things about my ex. And I'm like, before we go there, you clearly got some issues you got to deal with. And I'm like, yeah, I understand that, but what about her? I'm like, but what about this? I'm like, is it okay for you to do X, Y, or Z stuff? And he'd say no. And then no. No, it's not good for me to do that. Yeah, I should probably deal with that. And we spent like 2+ hours over this. And then I'm like, and then I saw when the next time they were coming back to chat, I was like, okay, there's no evidence actually anything has been done to be productive. Anything that's helpful. It's like, oh, I sent this message. Even though you said all this, I'm just gonna go with that. I'm like, okay, so they just don't believe in my stuff. Now I have a choice. Either I can try to convince them to believe me, or I can just let them experience it for themselves because they're not ready to listen to me. Okay. So go ahead. This is your life, your choice. I'm never gonna force you to do what I'm asking you to do. I'm like, it's your choice. I do what I do because I believe in it. If you don't believe in it, fine. If you're curious about what works for me, I'm here. But if you're not curious about it, okay. I'm not gonna force you. And then if you were to come back and complain and stuff, I'd be like, well, remember what I said last time about, hey, the quote unquote homework, like, did you try that? I'm like, okay, well, if you haven't even tried that, I can't help you. Like you're saying, Wizard, I can't help you with the next class. I'm like, I can't. And he was like, yeah, like, I'm trying to learn all these fancy things, but I don't even know how to keep us, bro. I'm like, yeah. All right, Swopel, have fun. Take care. I'm currently studying psychology, and I feel like you really mentioned a lot of stuff I heard in a couple of my courses. Pretty cool hearing for someone in a practical field. Yeah, I've taken some undergrad psych courses, so I'm aware of a lot of the theories of development. It's like, Adler, Erickson, Piaget, I mean, you name it. Psychoanalysis from Sigmund Freud. A lot of my stuff probably overlaps with cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, significantly. There is a lot of trauma-based work involved in what I do. So that comes across pretty frequently. Addictions are another thing. Mental disorders are another common thing. ADHD is a common concern for my clients, but that's usually comorbid with a lot of trauma things anyway. So while some people might genetically have ADHD, what I usually advise clients to do is to focus on not so much the nature part of things, but the nurture. So practicing things like mindfulness, practice slowing things down, focusing on one thing at a time. Also just generally healing through their own trauma and trying to rewire some of their maladaptive ways towards more adaptive behaviors so that they can feel more peace. So earlier before Cheetah, we had Will Papa, who was expressing all this. And I was advising him basically to do things that were good and strong. Chat gave a lot of wonderful ideas in that respect. And so he felt very motivated to go do something about it, which is amazing because the goal is to have his anxiety channeled into something very positive. That would get outcomes that are incredibly amazing rather than worst case fears
running the show, it's like, oh, if I anytime I'm stressed, I do these good things get better. And it creates a whole loop, a feedback loop where things just get progressively better and better and better, and a stronger marriage that he couldn't even conceive of. He's like, wow, this is so amazing. That's my goal. With my clients, on average, though, their starting point is usually like absolutely down in the gutter. So it can be quite a challenge to help guide themselves towards healthier things. They tend to go for shortcuts. They tend to do a lot of manipulative things. They do a lot of victim blaming. Like, it's a bunch of stuff that you're like, bro, this ain't gonna help you save your marriage at all. Like, oh my gosh, but I need to start the divorce like tomorrow. Otherwise she's gonna leave me. So I'm gonna do really shitty things. I don't realize they're shitty though. But I'm gonna do it because it works. Or maybe I know it's bad, but at least I won't lose today. And then, oh, I feel bad about it, but let me deny my guilt about it and not do anything to work through it. Because if I do, then she will leave, and then, oh my gosh, and it's just like this big spiral. But yeah, I got plenty of stories. Oh my gosh. Has it really almost been 2.5 hours? Damn. Okay. Is it always just a conversation with one client, or do you also have a group setting with both partners present? I typically work with one client at a time. I have rarely, I think I've only worked with a couple like once. I worked with a couple recently, definitely not giving any personal information about that. Um, it was very interesting for me to evaluate the couple. I got to see the problems that were occurring pretty fast, and the outcome of that relationship did not surprise me in the slightest. In that the couple broke up. And when I look at it, and now, yeah, like it didn't surprise me that they broke up. I'm like, yeah, given what I know about the woman in this relationship, and based on what I understand about her and how how she's receiving my coaching, I'm like, yep, sure, I can see some issues here and there, but by and large, I think she's fine. And then I'm like, with the guy, I'm like, wait, I wouldn't do what this guy is doing in a similar situation. I would insert think X, Y, Z things, so why isn't he? And I can tell she's putting a lot of effort into the relationship. He has been unaware, and he's coming to this now. And so I can just see that, like, who is the weak link, so to speak. And I'm like, yeah, it's the guy. So I've worked with that couple once, and they did want some couples coaching with me, but things became too untenable between them during that session. And sometime after that, they broke it off. But yeah, typically the clients I work with are those who are facing very stressful, dire, hopeless situations. Like, oh, I'm getting divorced tomorrow. Oh my gosh, my partner has left and found somebody else. I've had cases where, like, seriously fucked up cases. One of the clients sexually assaulted his stepdaughter, and now he's in prison. So stuff like that happens. Or like I said earlier, one client cheated on his wife when she was going through chemo. So it's like, yeah, these people coming in like got serious problems, serious issues to do things like this in the first place. And I usually work on the clients one person at a time. Yeah, chicken burrito, that does happen. So I like, if you guys want me to like spill tea on some of the stories, I can do that. I won't like say who's who or anything. But I can totally tell you, I got so many of them. Are you kidding me? I can speak about myself too, the fucked up things I've done if you're curious. But yeah, I guess let's see how many people are here. No, I think quite a few people have left. What? Twitch got like 7, YouTube has 4. So, oh, sorry, YouTube went down to 5. Or no, 5. We got 5 people now on YouTube. Can't believe 2.5 hours left went though. Ah, well, I guess unless you guys want anything else from me, I might just call it here. You guys, if you want to chat with me about anything related to self-esteem relationships, feel free to shoot a question. If you want to gossip about shit, I can do that too. So yeah, I'll give people like maybe a minute or two to decide. Otherwise, I'll just dip out. Because yeah, only if you guys want to. Because they can just wait till next week. All right, chicken burrito. I'll wait for you since you said let me think. You want to think for a bit. Hmm. While you're doing that, I'm gonna see if I can get anything. I'm just You want to hear some cases that eventually worked out? That was dark. Oh. Oh yeah, sure. So, I don't remember honestly with a lot of the dark cases. I remember so that one actually worked out. The one where the guy sexually assaulted his stepdaughter and is in prison. Him going to prison is one thing, but his wife did a complete turnaround because she saw he changed. Seriously, like seriously changed. So she hated his guts, obviously. And then she was eventually pleading with the judge. She's like, no, like, please don't put him in there because he's changed. And the judge was like, I don't care if he's changed. Crime is a crime. You're going under the jail. He is a success story. And he reconciled. So that actually worked. I've had clients, let's see. Let me see. I know their interviews are up on YouTube. Yeah, that one actually succeeded. Let's see. Can I find... Yeah, I mean, it was pretty common. Like, having success stories it's with what I give to people, it's not hard to succeed with it. It's just people are so fucking resistant to it. Be like, oh, what? I have to let my partner do whatever they want in their lives for their happiness? And of course, it's like, yes. But the clients on average are so fucking selfish that they just fuck it up. Oh my god. So I'll take one of my existing clients right now. She's been divorced for I think at least a few months, and she's been estranged by her kids and like her family, and recently she's been like she's been hanging out with her ex-husband. On top of that, one of her siblings, who absolutely fucking hated her for 20 years, was willing to show up for, like, she recently graduated from her, I guess, like, some certificate program and stuff like that. And so, and with this client, she's like, well, I did not expect this at all. Like, what? Like, how did you do a complete 180? Um, she's gotten a lot closer to her son as well. So the son wanted nothing to do with her, and I was like, yeah, like, she's changed. It's a big difference, and I've been working with her for about a year now. Another client, his wife was having an affair. They're now happily married. They're now, she was having an affair. Now they're like happy together again. Or when it's like, oh, my spouse, like one of the same sex couples that I worked with, the client's wife was stonewalling her. That eventually stopped. Like clients having affairs or clients' partners having affairs is like just like I'm just like, yeah, I'm kind of used to it. Plenty of those cases succeed. The success, so I'll say something. The success rate, if you were to look at the clients entering that previous um like my previous job, if you were to just look at the statistics, those that enter versus those that succeed, it's gonna look really fucking low. But if you understand why it's low, you're gonna be like, wait, it's not low because the system in of itself is fucked up. It's because people don't opt into the system. And they'll like blame everything else except look within. And you're like, okay, this kind of a problem. But the way that I put it is this. If you can make your partner feel super comfortable with you, if your partner can totally respect you and like think in a not like bow down to you type of way, but think very highly of you, admire you. And if the two of you can like align on life goals and whatnot and have a similar path in life, and the sex is great, whatever form that is for the two of you, like, can that fail? And I'm like, I don't think so. If you and your partner can have a culture where it's like, hey, we can talk about anything and everything and things get better. We can solve problems together. We both think super highly of each other. We're like on the same team together, going through life together. And intimacy is amazing. I'm like, that's like a dream relationship, bro. It's like that's what super solid relationships are about. You and your partner can go through every walk of life together, dealing with things together, and no matter what it is, no matter what problems you're having, problems with yourself, problems from life, problems with each other, like it doesn't matter. You can solve all problems together. You're fucking like it's like, how does it fail? Right, it's the ideal relationship. That's what I try to help people build. And I'll say this, men on average are kind of shit. On average. Obviously, there's great men. But generally, women are very distrustful over
men. Like, understandably so, because men can, like, be kind of shit. I would much rather, like, if I was if I'm like in a dark alley at night, if I think a man is there versus I think if a woman is there, I'm gonna have two totally different reactions. I'm gonna be more worried, like, is this guy like gonna mug me? With a woman, my guard and defenses will be down. I'll still be like, who is this? I don't know. But I'm like, it's not necessarily someone who's a threat to me. Even if the woman and the man share the same physical stature, for whatever reason, I'll be like, oh, it's a man. I'm more worried about where his headspace is at. With a woman, I'm like, I don't know. My stranger danger is fixated. Yamanba, right. Okay. It's the equivalent of, all right, sure, maybe it could be, let's see. Guys like Blood Edge Demon. A woman might be like Jakotsu Baba or something. Even in worst case scenarios, I'm like, I don't want to deal with a Blood Edge Demon ever. I'm good. I'm good. So naturally, for my clients, they also have that hesitance of like, I don't think this can work. But they don't have any solid counter arguments. I'm like, I'm literally trying to help you build a solid relationship in a very tangible ways. Like, part of the way that you can build a culture where you and your partner can solve everything together is that she feels comfortable and safe enough to talk to you about these things in the first place, or he does. Or they feel comfortable to talk about it with you because they believe they can work it out with you. So they trust you. Okay. So then what you need to do is to be the one to provide that across all problems, all situations. You just make them feel safer. And how do you do that? You make them, you're very understanding. You're working with them. You are practicing exactly the type of stuff you want in your ideal relationship. You create that culture yourself. And a surprise, surprise, a partner who has always wanted that from you in the first place will be like, oh my gosh, not only am I getting what I really wanted many years ago, they have like done a total fucking U-turn. So if I do a diagram here, let me get rid of this. See if I can do a graph. Okay. Okay, let's say the relationship trajectory is like going down the down low, right? So this is like, let's say this black line is the point of divorce, or they're like, all right, now is the split happening. What I try to prevent my clients from doing is doing worse shit. Okay? I try to prevent as much of this as possible, but this is usually the point. So right here is usually the point, or whatever it is, could be divorce, but whatever this is the point when they reach out for my help. Because it's gotten bad enough for them that they need to like deal with it now. Okay? Whatever that point is. What I try to help my clients do is to stop making the red line worse. All right, maybe they've gotten it to here, maybe they've gotten it to there through whatever toxic bullshit ways that they're doing. But they come out to help, and I'm trying to prevent them from getting worse. Because the worse and worse they make it, the harder it will be to recover from. And obviously with certain things that people can do, it can eventually become irrecoverable. Like, I know one guy who did like absolutely nothing and just like moped and groaned the whole time, even though he was toxic. And then like his ex eventually found a new relationship, and then now she's had a kid. And then he still does the same crappy tendencies across all relationships. I'm like, oh my God. Like, okay, well, good luck, I guess. But my goal is, let's see, where's a nice little eraser? Oh, I don't need one. I can just delete. And those, like, I went, like, in some of those situations, divorce is probably the good ending. Right. Right. Especially for the partner who is getting divorced. I mean, cast divorce, I mean, like, it's not necessarily the end. But in that individual who's now ex-wife has a child with somebody else, like, they may not be able to get a romantic relationship with each other for whatever reason, or maybe they could. I don't fucking know what the future holds. But no matter what, like, not working on yourself is a stupid idea. So what I generally will just tell clients to do is, like, look, you might be here at, or let's say, let me draw this a little better. I need a line. Here, let me put this other line here. So this is like, oh my gosh, my partner wants a divorce line, right? And then they're like, oh shit, no matter what I do, it's getting worse, right? Actually, let's put it here. Okay, this is, oh my gosh, my partner wants a divorce. Partner says, I want a divorce. Yeah, purple will be partner wants a divorce. And then this is when they come to help. I'm trying to prevent them from going further down in the red. All right, I don't want them going down here. So what I'm trying to get them to do instead is, like, one, I'm trying to make them go up. But naturally there is a slight limitation with time. Obviously, I want them to change, but I don't want them to change. I'm trying not to get them to change at a super snail pace. It takes like 500 years. My goal is to give them the ingredients so that they can change very rapidly. Obviously, some change is good, but if they don't make major changes, they're screwed. That's what it boils down to, so that it reverses the whole cycle of things, to say the least. And let's say, like, the reconciliation line would be, let's have it like here. So yeah, that's what I try to get them to do. Right. I'm trying to help them to change, but if they change too slowly, that doesn't suffice. Now, unfortunately, some clients can twist that to mean, like, oh no, so I could change and it won't make a damn difference. I'm like, no, it will. But ironically, them thinking that way and having all this stress over that is something I need to effectively help course correct. Hey, Liu Kang's going pretty well. How are you? But the changes that I'm talking about, Chicken Burrito, aren't like anything that crazy. It's like, gee, I don't know, be an understanding type of person. Like, be understanding to the person you're claiming to love and care for and want to be understanding to in the first place. Like, be nice. Don't be a dick. Oh no, but my partner's having an affair. I'm like, so just keep being nice, because that's what you do. Right, Chicken Burrito, that's usually the difficult part of the job, which is, hey, they are refusing to listen for whatever reason. I try to discover the reasons, and sometimes if I think it's about denial, I'm like, well, if they're in denial, me trying to speak anything to them is not really going to help, but what I can do is I can just lay the foundation. I can plant some seeds, if you will, about what will happen if they give in to their denial and what further consequences await them. Because usually what happens going from purple to blue here in these points is that they still haven't accepted their way is shit. And so then we're down here in the blue, where they come get my help.
And then I'm trying to help them this way. But there needs to come to that place of realization of like, oh shit, my way doesn't work. I need help. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, really. Where they're humble enough to at least try something new. But if they're going to just consistently refuse to work with me in some capacity, I'm like, well, I can't, like, I'll try to help you get the green as best as I can with the time I do have. But, you know, I can't help you if I'm not there to help, you know? So one thing, for example, I've told clients is like, don't even consider dating until we can make sure your green line is fucking solid. Like, we need to make sure that you've dramatically changed and you can continue increasing your changes and that your process for changing is good. And you know how to be an understanding type of person, someone people feel safe with. Like, once we do the overhaul, then feel free to like try things out with your partner, see if things can improve for a significant amount of time. Like, in my case, I said like, well, I'm never giving up, so whatever. But what I really mean is I'm not giving up on changing myself. So I'm like, just invest in your relationship. If it gets better, keep going. And if it like doesn't get better after a considerable amount of time in any capacity, then I'll tell you like go date if you want. And that's happened in like a handful of cases, but the norm is usually people aren't doing the work first. So it usually falls flat. And they experience it themselves when it's like that guy, for example, whose ex eventually had a child with another kid. And he in his mind, he's like, well, I lost. Okay. And then he like didn't really do any of the self-development that we were advising of him. And then he started to date and then he encountered the same issues over again. And then it's just like back to square one for him. And we're like, okay. So that happens. We're like, yeah, I didn't do anything that we were told to do. And I'm one of those people that you specifically warned in the very beginning not to do it. And I did it anyway. And I paid the price. Don't be like me. It's like, okay. Do not enter the boss room until you're ready. Poofer's just a support mage giving buffs. The guy got to get good. Yeah, that works to an extent too. So that's really what, like, a lot of my job is just trying to help get people on the right path, but I can't do that for them, and some clients it's very challenging for me to work with. But it becomes very clear that even though I'm trying to help them as best as I can, that I guess they're just not really ready for it. It was funny when I had one of my clients trying to give me relationship advice, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, I'm fine, dude. Thanks, but I'm your coach. With like, save your relationship first before telling me how to do things with mine. You forget that I've already saved other relationships professionally. You use yourself as an example a lot. That makes it easier to let them trust you, I guess. It can. Because it can show that I can relate. It's not just like some random person just giving them unsolicited advice. Yeah, exactly. Been there type of thing. Or if some people are like, whoa, I know he had it worse than me and he overcame it, maybe I should listen. Anytime someone's like, oh my gosh, my partner wants to divorce me, I'm like, bro, who do you know who you're talking to? Oh my god, my partner blocked me. I'm like, been there. Oh no, no contact. Oh no, they're thinking of dating other people. I'm like, been there, done that. Oh my gosh, family stuff. Been there, done that. I'm like, yeah, been there. Yeah, been there. I'm like, okay, no, I didn't have kids. I had cats. It's not the same thing. It's true. But like my clients that I work with, one of the clients I'm working with, she has kids. She trusts me. because they can even though it's not like a one-to-one surface relatability, she can tell the deeper things I understand. She can tell that I'm understanding and working with her. So yeah, she shows up pretty much every week. But yeah. Mm. It is, I will say, it is like low key a little humorous to have people use me as an excuse about why they're failing. I'm like, and like when you hear their logic, it's like, oh my god, bro, this is such cringe. um, and like I can kind of tell, I'm like that the behaviors is just gonna screw them in their relationships, and it does, of course. Like one client, who I'm definitely not naming, they're deciding to go with another like relationship program type thing. And immediately when I learned about it and I heard about it, and given my interactions with them, I thought, well, if you thought we were rough now, good luck. Good luck dealing with that thing. So, yeah, it was, I'm just like, all right, well, good luck. This, to put it, I think this was that person I was talking about last week, who whose wife was had their like 4-year-old kid or something, and then he was so focused on getting his perspective understood, and he's just like doubling down on it and over again. And I'm like, bro, you are literally fighting with your wife that you're claiming you want to get reconcile with. You're literally having a fight with her when she's on a trip. And it's like clear he doesn't really care because he's so focused on himself rather than thinking about the big picture for his marriage. And he just completely like disregards our advice. I'm like, okay, good luck. My wife's a bitch. Pooper hates cocky. What? The car's not working well. Everyone's awful to me. Yeah. It's like he creates the problem. That guy creates the problems himself and then complains about the consequences of his actions. I'm like, just don't do the shitty thing. Right. No self-reflection. I'm like, yep, this is a big part of the problem. It's like, yeah, my wife's a cruel person. I'm like, you told her she was cruel? You're being such a cruel person. Wow. Oh my gosh, I can't speak to my son because my son doesn't want to talk to me. And she's treating my son older than he actually is. I should be able to talk to him whenever I want. I'm like, what if your son doesn't want to talk to you? Your wife obviously doesn't want to work with you. Are you going to be understanding towards her to figure out what to fix? Or he's like, no. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you're not going to do well no matter where you go. It's like, well, you guys aren't a sure shot. Okay, good luck. He's like, you guys aren't a sure shot. That other thing has so many successes. I'm like, it's not going to go any better there, dude. It's not going to go any better there, is what I'm thinking. I'm like, okay. But in my mind, I'm not going to say that to him. I'm like, good luck. Like, go ahead. I am so confident in what I provide and what we provide. Like, that feel free to go. Look everywhere. If it works for you, amazing. We'll still be here. I ain't worried shit. So that happens. Unfortunately, it's like, too bad for you. I'm like, all right, well, it's just the first region. Yeah. It'd be like, oh, I'm gonna play Neo exactly like Dark Souls. You don't know what you're talking about. You just suck at the game. I'm gonna go with these guys, these content creators who can play Dark Souls and Elden Ring, and they're so good with it. And I'm gonna listen to them over you, even though you know you play Neo and Neo 2 and Neo 3. I don't care. because your guys' advice doesn't make sense to me. And rather than me trying to understand what's going on, I'm just going to say, your guys' advice is dumb. Doesn't work. See, these other people beat Souls likes. I'm like, okay, bro, good luck. What can you, I can't do anything about that. If they've made up their mind, I'm not going to try to change it. I'm like, you just experience it for yourself. Oh well, it is what it is. But yeah, it's like, it doesn't surprise me. I'm like, okay, you can go ahead and doubt me, but like, I'm living the life that I practice what I preach, and I'm pretty happy with it. I'm like, I get to hang out with, I am roommates with my ex-wife, even though she was the one that kicked me out. Even though she blocked me, even though she divorced me, even though there's no contact. Her and I best friends again. She talks to me about a lot of things. She trusts me a lot about everything that's difficult. A lot of things that are difficult. She's very open with me. Like, this is better than I expected. And it's just been getting better and better every day. It's getting so much better that I like don't really worry anymore. And if I do have a worry that comes up, I address it with her. I'll ask her a question, or she'll tell me. Like, it just gets better. I'm like, I don't have to worry anymore. Imagine like with Neo, for example, there's patch 1.07 that was released, which seems to not have satisfied the community. So naturally there's a concern of like, oh gosh, are the patches in the future going to address what we're looking for? I know like Zelot's pissed about it, for example. But if the patches kept coming out regularly and they kept addressing shit, at a certain point, you'd be like, well, I don't really need to worry about the state of the game anymore, because the state of the game is just improving that much more per patch. Okay, I'm excited for the next patch. What is patch 1.08 gonna bring? There's so much faith in the improvement of it, in this green line, so to speak. You stop worrying about, hey, am I gonna get past this threshold? Am I gonna get past this threshold? You just don't have to worry. It's just like increasing. It just gets better and better. It's like a bank account. If you keep making if you make $1,000 every hour, then at some point you probably won't have to look at your bank account. It won't matter. Or let's say $10,000 or whatever amount of money. But you keep making so much money, you never have to look at your bank account again. That's a situation I find myself increasingly in over time. And I've noticed that. I'm like, I feel more comfortable. I feel safer. I can ask questions or cast some questions that previously would have been terrifying for me. She wants to hang out with me. There's a lot of positive evidence. I'm like, okay, well, keep going. I trust Yasuda and his team enough that they will fix stuff eventually, but I can't say the same for others. Yeah, understandable. For me, when it comes to the Neo 3 experience, while I'm a little disappointed some things haven't been addressed, I'm also waiting for DLC things too. For me, my experience with the Neo gameplay loop has been so fun. I'm like, bro, I can't fucking wait for DLC because my base game experience was so positive. Yeah, it's nice chicken burrito. So like after this, her and I are probably gonna play more Path of Exile. Cool. It just gets better and better. I don't gotta worry. Sure, we're not a couple today. Might happen in the future, but I don't. It doesn't matter to me anymore. I'm like, oh, what would I do if we were a couple? Same thing as I would today anyway. Which is have the most amount of fun I can with her. So if nothing changes regardless of the outcome, why focus on the outcome? I'm good. I don't need to. I have no reasoning to. I'm like, okay. I can be more present, which is really nice. I can keep enjoying things. So when people are having issues with Neo 3, I usually just tell them patience. Yeah. You know what to expect. You have that trust in them. That trust makes such a huge difference. You can trust in that process that Neo 3's development will improve. That's the same principle I apply to my work. help my clients develop a process for improving their relationship and make that such a good process they don't need to worry about when their relationship, when they reconcile. It's just, it turns into a question of, hey, am I going to reconcile? Will we ever reconcile? To like, well, I don't know the date of when we reconcile, but at this point, it doesn't matter. With Cass and I'm not worried about whether she trusts me or not. I'm like, well, she obviously doesn't trust me right now, but I'm like, well, I just do things that build trust over time anyway, and I just do a lot of them all the time. I'm like, okay. In other words, be a trustworthy person. Eventually she'll trust me. And she even says it. She's like, yeah, I'm slowly steady trusting you. Yeah, you've become a great person. Yes, you really changed dramatically. If you hadn't, I wouldn't let you live with me. Yes, I want to hang out with you. Yes, I'm inviting you. Thank you for believing me. Like, all sorts of positive things. Or she's gotten me like food just like out of the blue. Or she does me like a favor when she doesn't have to. It's all sweet. It's like nice. I have that to like in the present. But think about that. I have that now, but before she kicked me out. And she divorced me, and all the things that come with divorce. Two totally different realities now. That came through in large part through me changing, because that inspired her to change as well. It's not complicated. Clients make it complicated because they can get in their own way, and that's what I got to help them out with. Anyway, yeah. There you go, chicken burrito. Did that give you enough time to think about stuff, or you think you're out of gas today? Was that a good bedtime story for you? Ego stuffs, or they didn't think through it? Yeah, it can be both. But yeah, so that client that I was saying who decided to go with some other program or something, I'm like, good luck. It's just what's in my head. All right. But yeah, if you can't think of anything, given I think the relative low activity on the channel, I'll probably just dip. Cause yo, I'm gonna go play Path of Exile. Oh yeah, did I show you? So the controllers I use pretty much for all PlayStation 5 things. I use this controller, just like the standard one. And then for Cass, boom, she picked out this controller for her upcoming birthday. So she really likes the color. You gonna take a small nap soon? I need to go somewhere later. All right. Well, then I think I'm gonna dip out then. But yeah, I'm gonna go live the life that I am preaching. So same as yours. Nice. So yeah, I'm gonna dip out then. For those of you that are still here, thank you so much for your company. It's always appreciated. And by all means, if you want some free self-esteem or relationship coaching or help, feel free to submit a question on my questionnaire. It should be the same one as usual, but I'll put a link to that in my latest YouTube community post if that's of interest to you. And if no one submits questions, I'm happy to just chat about shit, which is fine by me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys later. Take care, and bye.